The Arena League regular season ends today as the Iowa Woo look to finish their best season as a franchise on a high note against the Nebraska Siege team looking to bounce back from their first loss of the year. For the final time this season, we welcome you inside the Unidome on the campus of the University of Northern Iowa. He's Owen Sebring, I'm Jason Stivers, and we are so excited to be here with you for the finale of the 2026 AL season. Owen, the Woo were eliminated from playoff contention last week despite the win over Eau Claire here in this building. It was the Nebraska loss to St. Joe's that eliminated them from the playoffs. What's Iowa's mentality coming into this game, and how is Nebraska going to bounce back from their first loss?
Well, you mentioned it with Iowa having their best season so far as a franchise with the Woo, and I got to think that at least that is something to play for because they have a chance now to finish 3-1 over their final 4 games of the season, finishing with a 500 record. That will be a major win for this program as they're just still trying to build some momentum as a franchise and get some guys to come back the next year, trying to find some people that might want to come and play for this team again, keep building that talent pool.
Absolutely. On the other side for Nebraska, they're looking for a championship.
Yeah.
Their season does not want to end today, and they are guaranteed a spot for the playoffs, but they're fighting for home field advantage.
That's right.
What does that mean to Nebraska?
Yeah, so no matter what, in this division of the bracket, it's going to be St. Joe and Nebraska playing each other in the first round of the playoffs. But, boy, they would love to host a game on their home turf in Nebraska, bring some postseason football into Nebraska, something that the Huskers haven't been able to do much of lately. So may as well see it with the Siege. Have those guys bring some playoff football into the state of Nebraska.
Apologies to Nebraska fans. You're in Iowa, so get used to that tonight. We take a look at our impact players to watch in this game, starting with the visiting Nebraska Siege. Songa Yates is our main man, the quarterback / receiver. He's done a little bit of everything in this season.
Yeah, this team overall is just such a dynamic unit with so many players, led by Yates, of course. But last time that Iowa and Nebraska played each other, there were 3 different players for the Siege who threw a touchdown pass and 7 different players who ran the ball. So they have such a wide spread out attack. It's hard to even pick one player of the game because they've got so many talented players out there.
You take a look at his numbers last week. Despite the loss, 287 passing yards, 7 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. So a good game despite the loss. And on the other side, for the Woo, is Vernon Sharp as we get things going a little bit early here in Cedar Falls. The finale of the season getting underway. The first play, a couple yards, and that'll be the way we get started.
Yeah, we're going to see Vernon Sharp, as we mentioned him, as the impact player of the game. Vernon Sharp has been so consistently good these last few weeks. Start of the year, a little bit slow. Turnovers were a major issue for him, but man, we're going to talk about this all through today's game, but he's been so good these last handful of games, helping this team pick up a couple of wins over the past couple of weeks. Just 13 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Incredible numbers for his last 2 games.
First play, Sharp going deep. Can't find a man. A little overthrown for the receiver, the defender in step with him. And let's take a look at Vernon Sharp's numbers. And one of the things I really focused on as prep for this game was looking at the start of the year and the end of the year. We talked in last week's broadcast. I implored viewers to go watch those first couple games if you're a Woo fan and watch that last week's win. And you look at the first 3 games compared to the last 4 games. And we'll talk about this all night. His first 3 games, 398 passing yards, 8 touchdowns, and 11 picks. Here's a second down play. Quick throw. Oh, the middle, and it's complete. Down to about the 23. Well, he'll get tackled up. First down yardage for the Woo.
Kayvon Smith, he had a huge week last week against Eau Claire, had 117 receiving yards and 3 touchdowns. We've talked all year about some of the offensive weapons that Vernon Sharp has found. Kayvon Smith, a major factor in this offense as he has exploded late in the season.
Sharp looking good to start. First down. Low snap, bobbled. Sharp throws, ball still out. Ball still out. Who's going to come up with it? And it looks like the Siege will secure the ball. So as good as we were talking about Vernon Sharp, a wild play results in a turnover for the Woo. Nebraska will take over in the red zone.
And that'll be Evan Simons, number 21, jumping on that ball. Sharp just didn't get a good handle on it. 1 Siege player, 2 Siege players with a chance at the recovery. Then it's Simons. He'll just fall on it. That's what you want your player to do if you're a coach. Just fall on the ball. No need to pick it up and be a hero. Great recovery for him. And now the Siege are already in action. Such a high-scoring, potent offense. And now they're getting set up inside of the 5-yard line for their first plays of the game.
So great defense turns into offense. Yates in the backfield. Our running back to his left. We'll hand it off, and there'll be Laundry on the first play for Nebraska.
Yeah, it looks like I saw maybe a little bit of motion there by one of these teams. We'll see what the Stripes have to say about this one. False start, so that's going to set him back, and that's going to affect your play calling. As we mentioned, we're going to talk about the unique rules of this league as we go throughout the game. Even though you've maybe been watching us for all 8 weeks of the season or beyond, we still like to talk through all of the different wrinkles that make this game a little bit different. So if you're inside the 5-yard line, you cannot run the ball if you're on offense. But if you're outside the 5, you can, so that might affect the play calling here in the red zone.
After the flag, Yates takes it up the middle. He's got room into the end zone. Touchdown, Siege.
And that exactly is what I was kind of talking about, that might have honestly done them a favor to have that false start and get set back, because it opens up Yates, who's such a dynamic, explosive player. Just put the ball in his hands, and something's good going to happen for you if you're the Siege, and that's exactly what they wanted. They've got the number 2 red zone percentage offense in the Arena League, 78%, 18-23, and make that 19-24 with that very first play.
Gonna go for 1. This is a 1-point conversion. Yates dances. Defender's on his way. Just gets it away and caught. A magical play by Yates to convert the extra point. 7-0 your score.
Wow.
Siege take the early lead.
Daquan Dudley there on the receiving end of that one for the 1-point conversion. That, too, one of those rules that we like to talk about. Since they started that play at the 5-yard line, if you convert the attempt from the 5, that's worth 1 point. If they were to choose to bump it back to the 10-yard line, that's then going for 2. So it's going to be a 7-0 lead for the Siege, and we're just getting a glimmer right now of the playmaking skills of Sanji Yates. Just look at him escape. There were 2 Woo players all over him. Look like they might be able to take him down as he's got a defender draped on his backside, just about to bring him down. Might even get a piece of that arm. It wasn't the cleanest throw because it looked like the defender got a piece of it, but still good enough to get to Dudley in the end zone. He reaches up. Great play offensively. Man, that's exactly how you want to start this game if you're the Siege, playing for home field position in next week's playoffs.
So there was a bit of a question by the officials. So they're going to say he was down before the throw.
I had wondered about that because he did make heavy contact with the sideline there, so so will be ruled no throw. Still remarkable play, regardless, by Yates, but it's not going to count. So it is just going to be a 6-0 lead for Nebraska over Iowa.
Again, another one of those rules you talk about, that side wall, if they're tackled next to it, that is out of bounds. So here's the throw back to the Woo. The Siege still with a 6-0 lead over the Woo here in the early moments of the final game of the 2026 Arena League season.
What we've seen right there, so that was Yates doing the throw off there, which is something we actually didn't see last week with either team. Both Eau Claire and Iowa had other players outside of their quarterbacks handling the throw off duties, but that was Nebraska, which to me always seems like the smart play there. Just let your quarterback throw it downfield. You know, they can make it 50 yards downfield, so let them be the one to handle it. So again, it went into the end zone there, so that's going to count as a touchback and put Iowa on the 5-yard line as they get things started on now their second offensive drive.
The first offensive drive for the Woo didn't go their way. A low snap fumble by Sharp in his own end zone. Pressure coming. Can he get the ball away? Yes, he can, and just throws it away. And avoids the safety.
Smart play. You know, we talked about that last week. Some of the decision-making skills by Vernon Sharp and his ability to make plays under pressure. There are a lot of times where he does force the ball out too early. Sometimes you do just want to see him take a sack rather than trying to force a ball and throw an interception. That is a time, though, where you just want to get rid of the ball rather than giving 2 more points to your opponent.
And ensuring that you're throwing it out of play. You know, no opportunity for that ball to stay in. Throw it out. Second down. He's got some more time. Pressure coming. Escapes. He's dancing, throw deep, got a man, no, incomplete. Ball just too far away, hand fighting, but no Laundry on that.
Yep. Yeah, boy, the Nebraska Siege are really putting on that pressure on Sharp early in this game. I think maybe they know just based on where they are on the field. Let's go ahead and try to put a couple more points on the board because they're really bringing that pressure. All year, honestly, Iowa's been pretty good against the front 3. They've protected Vernon Sharp pretty well, but Nebraska's thrown up some early pressure, and he's had just such little time to even make a decision and try to get rid of the ball.
Kentrell Pierce with the good defending. Sharp's going to run it himself, and he breaks a tackle down at the 20. Down near the 25, he'll get tackled at the 24. A first down run for Vernon Sharp. near the top of the league in rushing yards, and that's why right there.
Yeah, exactly, and that's exactly what they want to do. And again, when it's a tight situation for you as a team, again, you may as well just put it in Vernon Sharp's hands and let him handle things. Last time they played Nebraska, he had 58 rushing yards and picks up another 20 right there.
So a third down turns into first in great field position for Iowa. And that ball batted down, incomplete.
Boy, another chance for a turnover there for Evan Simons. The ball came right into his hands, and he couldn't quite hang on to it. Those are the plays you want to avoid if you're Vernon Sharp, because we saw a few of those last week where he threw it, and an Eau Claire defender just dropped the ball, and they're not always going to drop it. Evan Simons, he seems like he's a sure-handed defender, and he's probably going to be coming down with that one more often than not.
And I think the real question in this game is, we know this game's likely to be close. You know, Eau Claire last week, and that throw, nobody there, almost had his man in between two defenders, but incomplete. You know, that game wasn't close in the second half, to be quite frank. So Sharp wasn't under a lot of pressure necessarily to make those big plays. How do you think he's going to respond in a game now where you know Nebraska's good? You've seen them all year long. They lost their first game last week rather. How does Vernon Sharp respond? I think that's the question.
Well, there is an advantage in having seen this team before. He played pretty well, even in spite of a loss last time they played. He's going to drop back and drop it off here. And
at the 15, at the 10, before he is hit down about they'll give him at the 10-yard line. So a good dump-off throw by Sharp.
That was Stephon Chapman coming up with that one. And Vernon Sharp, having already faced Nebraska, he had a 241 pass yards, 5 touchdowns, 3 interceptions last time he played them. So there is a little bit of a, you know, even though the defense has seen him, Vernon Sharp has seen this defense, and so that gives him at least a little bit of a leg up, you know, with how well he's playing late in the year.
Awkward snap, caught over, not the 5-yard line before he's wrapped up against the wall. That'll be a second and medium at the 5.
Kayvon Smith, as we mentioned, he had those 3 touchdown passes last week, emerging as one of Sharp's primary weapons on offense. Him and number 8 there, Harold Brooks, have been the 2 guys that we really seen get targeted a lot so far today.
Again, 5 touchdowns in that game at Nebraska. Had 3 interceptions, though, and that's ultimately what cost them that one. Sharp dancing, looking for the end zone. Did he come down with it? No, he did not. Incomplete, hits the turf. Third down due up for Iowa.
Boy, that was a close one. Harold Brooks thought he had his hands under that one. Brooks just came on late in the year. We hadn't seen a lot of him this year, and then he kind of showed up on the roster last week unexpectedly, and he's been great for them so far. Very sure-handed, caught a couple of touchdown passes last week. And here, let's see, he has it in the hands initially. Yeah, looks like the ball hits the turf right there. Yep, so good call by the officials.
And a hard hit on third down. You could hear that from the booth. So 4th down and short. Maybe even less than 1, yes.
Natural, and again, we're in a mandatory throwing situation here.
And a toss off, and that's not gonna get there. Backed up to about the 5. And that will be a turnover for the Woo.
The yard marker there said 3rd down, but that was 4th down, so that'll be a turnover that now Nebraska's to take back over with a 6-0 advantage already. Then we're going to see what their offense can do with the deep field. Last time they had it set up initially, I think, on the 4-yard line. It eventually turned into a 9-yard touchdown run for Sanji Yates, and see what he can do with a full field in front of him now.
And that's one of the tough things about this game is, you know, conventional logic tells you, oh, just run it in, you know? But you can't do that, so it makes you have to get creative, which can work in some instances and can backfire. You saw it backfire there for the Woo. Yates stands in his end zone. There's going to be a penalty, and an offensive player jumped a little early.
And that, you know, that's something that you have to get creative with the play calling, and we've seen it a few times this season where even as you're a player, it's hard to shake that muscle memory. Let's listen to this call right now. Offsides on Iowa. But you've seen that muscle memory hard to kick for these players who have played football a certain way their entire lives, and so it's only natural, even when you're inside the 5, if you're a quarterback, all right, I'm just going to run it in there, and you kind of forget some of these rules sometimes. It's easy to, you have to check yourself and think, okay, actually, wait, no, I do have to throw the ball, or I do have to do something different than what I've done the rest of my life playing football.
A jump by Ty Anderson for the Woo. Gets Yates out of his own end zone. First down and short after the penalty yardage. Run up the middle. He's at the 25. He's tackled down about the 17-yard line. We'll see where they spot it. They'll spot it exactly at the 17-yard line. A big first down run after the penalty.
That was Elijah Gray on the run. Nebraska, very unconventional indoor arena football league team in terms of how much they run the ball. I think I mentioned it earlier that last time the Siege played Iowa, 7 different players just ran the ball, which we just don't see that. I mean, Vernon Sharp is pretty much the only Woo player who's going to run the ball.
Yates, empty backfield, looking for a man. Gets it down the middle at the 15, at the 10, at the 5. Close to the end zone, but will be short about by 3 yards. But another first down for the Siege, and they are rolling early in Cedar Falls.
David Brown getting his hands on that one and putting them in the red zone again. As I mentioned earlier, Nebraska, one of the most effective red zone teams in the Arena League. Now trying to convert again, go 2 for 2 today.
6-0 the score. Yates, the snap, the handoff. And that's going to go nowhere. The defense able to shore up and tackled back there about the 5-yard line, a 2-yard loss on first and goal.
Good track down defensive play there by number 15, Khalil Smith for the Iowa Woo, finding a way to put them back a little bit further. Smith was big last week, as was this entire Woo defense. They had a just outstanding defensive effort last week against Eau Claire, and Khalil Smith, the product of Northwest Missouri State University, shoring up that defensive line, containing things on the outside.
Second down, Yates, empty backfield. Looking for a man, into the end zone, and that's caught. Touchdown Siege, a man was wide open in the back of the end zone. And the Siege take a 12-0 lead early.
There was David Brown again. He was the guy who had the big pickup that got him into the red zone, and there he is. Feed your man as you're in the red zone and just get 6 more points on the board. 2 for 2 today now for this Siege team in the red zone. Just incredible once they get close to the end zone. There's just no denying them, and they really made mincemeat out of Iowa's defense on that drive. Looked so good. Just nothing Iowa could do to stop him. The Siege set up this time for a 2-point attempt.
Receiver in motion, Yates on the 2-point, looking to escape. Defense coming, and they're going to get there and hit him hard. Oh my goodness gracious. Into and through the protective wall.
Wow. Is Yates going to be okay? He was a little bit banged up there, looked like early. On that defensive play there, looked like that was Ty Anderson and Jay Wright, I think, who tracked him down and pushed him out of bounds. So that's something you got to say. That's at least a win for the Woo so far, keeping 3 points off the board so far in these conversion attempts. Man, just crushed him right through that wall. Hit him into that Wolf logo right on the fence. Love to see that. Excellent play, excellent track down. The defensive line this year for the Iowa, they've been outstanding. Just a matter of making sure they can contain such a good player like that as we get the sidelines reset.
And the good news is that actually didn't break anything. That was the entrance for the Woo players. So the side is okay. The wall's good, but still a impressive play by the Woo defense. Here's the throw off. I'll go back in the end zone for a touchback.
To me, I got to read up on the rules a little bit, but it looked like his foot crossed the end zone as he was doing the throw there, but it was kind of halfway in, halfway out, so it might still be an okay throw-off attempt as long as part of your foot is in there. Nevertheless, that was a different player doing the throw-off. We mentioned the first time it was Sanji Yates, the quarterback. That time it was Vince Brown, who was their former Mizzou tight end, who was doing the throw-off. See his left foot, watch that. It's a little hard to see from that angle, but you can see the front of his foot cross the end zone as he was throwing it out of there. And but gets the job done. It's still another touchback and sets the Woo up at the 5-yard line. And they're just trying to right now to keep it out of the hands of number 3, Trayvon Colbert, who was outstanding last week in the return game. I think that's probably on the scouting report for Nebraska, that Colbert is dangerous on the throw-offs when he gets the ball in his hands. So as long as they're doing touchbacks, they're making sure that Colbert's not doing anything with it.
And a touchback very favorable to the Siege. The ball gets placed at the 5-yard line. And that'll back him up even more. A delay of game called on the Woo. So a dangerous situation just turned into an extremely dangerous situation for the Woo.
I'm a little surprised to see some of these penalties coming up so far for the Woo, just because it's their 8th game of the year. You know, you kind of expect that in week 1 and 2 when you have a lot of new players adjusting to the rules, adjusting to this new system. They're maybe playing arena ball for the first time, but by week 8, shouldn't be having these mental lapses like Iowa's having right now.
First down, Woo looking to throw. Sharp does complete. Out to about the 8. Down to about 12, maybe 13. They'll spot him actually at the 15 with forward progress. So a first down for the Woo. So the penalty, not really meaning much.
At least Sharp was able to get a little bit more protection that time and have more room to move around and get the ball to Kayvon Smith, who again, getting his hands on the ball and being able to get out for another first down to at least get a shorter field in front of Iowa.
So first down after, and another fumble. Who's going to come up with it? The Woo player's there. Does he get it? We'll have to see what the ruling is.
Hard to see from this angle. The fence gets in the way, but you see some Siege players celebrating. Who's coming up with it?
And it's going to be Nebraska ball.
Nebraska ball, wow. Another turnover by Iowa. Oh, boy, that hurts. We've seen this, too. This is something I noticed last week as well, and we've seen it today, where the snaps just don't seem like they're a real clean operation between the center and the quarterback. There's just been a lot of balls so far. I think we've seen already 3 snaps that have been low. 2 of those have resulted down fumbles. 1, Vernon Sharp was able to corral and recover. But, yeah, this is a messy start for Iowa, and just brutal way to get this thing started with how effective Nebraska is in the red zone. You just can't give this team a short field every time like this, man, because they're going to take advantage.
Nebraska operating near the red zone. First snap blown up immediately. A sack. That defender read it from the second it left the center's hands. 21.
Jamie Vicente Colon, his 2nd season playing as a member of the Woo. He had a defensive touchdown last time these 2 teams played each other, and he has been a major factor in Iowa's defense all 8 games this season. He's been a wrecking ball. Just watch him come in almost untouched, get his hands wrapped up around the legs. That's all you got to do. Just find the leg of the quarterback and try to bring him down.
So after the sack, 2nd down, Yates not able to find their man. Incomplete. 3rd down, due up and long.
Is that the first time we've seen him throw an incomplete pass today?
I believe so.
Yates, so effective, so impactful when he's got the ball in his hands, and now trying to convert. You know they'd love to. This is a natural four down territory, because on 4th down the option would be just to surrender the ball, which you just put at the 15 for your opponent anyway. So this is going to be at least 2 more downs here for Nebraska.
Yates with a fake snap, trying to get someone to jump. Yates dances, loses the ball. He's able to jump back on it, but he's taken down behind the line of scrimmage. 4th down and even longer coming up.
Boy, just as I'm seeing in Yates' praises, he's made a few mistakes here. He had 1 sack, and then he had an incompletion, and now he takes another. I think that'll count as a sack. I think that was 1 yard. They got brought down behind the line of scrimmage by, was that Cologne again that brought him down?
I believe so.
No, but we got a 4th down scenario, so obviously they're going to go for it here, but you've got to get it all the way down to the 3 yard line if you want a chance to convert.
Yates snaps, nobody in the backfield with him. Looking for it all in the end zone. Did he come down with that? Yes, he did. Touchdown, Siege.
Goodness gracious, Daquan Dudley. There he is again. Same guy that had the first touchdown. That is as good of a play as you are going to see watching any level of Arena League football. Holy Moses. Dudley do-right, going up over the fence, reaching up with 1 hand. Let's watch him on his route. Takes it straight down the field, crosses over into the end zone, gets behind Cologne, reaches up, and just beautiful way of holding on to that ball. He knew he was going to be taking a big fall as he fell over the fence there. Who knows even if he held on to the ball back behind there? I mean, even if he didn't, the ref doesn't know it. So who's going to say wrong? But actually, we might get a good chance to see what he does here as he gets behind the fence. No,
coming right into your living room.
Wow.
2-point conversion. Laser thrown in and completed for the 2-point. 14-0 your score.
Wow.
Excuse me, 18-0 your score. After that,
Joseph Hampton on the catch there. Boy, I just keep thinking about that Dudley catch. That's kind of what the Arena League is set up for. They love having those catches where you're kind of going up over the fence and then falling down over the top of it, holding on to the ball. Boy, they have really impressed me so far. Now 3 for 3 in the red zone today. This is just picture perfect Arena League football. If you're the Nebraska Siege, Iowa seems incapable of stopping them so far. Doesn't help that they've had a short field 2 of their 3 times that they've gone down there, but boy, Sanji Yates, he just finds a way to convert every time. Is now Yates is the one who takes back, and he's going to be the one throwing here. Not sure if maybe we do alternating throw-off situations here for the Siege, but now Yates will have done 2 of them, and Vince Brown did the other one.
20-0 your score with 39 seconds left in the first quarter. It's been all Nebraska all quarter long. Can Iowa get something going before the break? And that will be a touchback. And this drive will start at the 5.
Yeah, Iowa's got to get something figured out, because even coming back from a 3-possession deficit is hard against any opponent in any game in the Arena League, much less doing it against who might be the best team in the league, the Nebraska Siege, who just had their first loss of the season last week. Boy, this is going to be a tall order for this team if they want to try to make a comeback in the second half. We did see a lot of points put on the board by Iowa in the final 3 quarters last week against Eau Claire, so it's not out of the question, but you just got to have clean operations. Man, we've just seen so many errors between the center and the quarterback, and turnovers have been such a problem for Iowa. Just got to convert. This is a drive you absolutely need if you're the Woo.
First down, low snap, Sharp able to corral, and incomplete, just missed his man. Second down, due up.
Might have gotten a hand on it by one of the defenders there. It looked like somebody may have deflected it on the pass, and so number 9, Kayvon Smith, didn't really have a good shot at it.
And that will take us to the end of 1 in Cedar Falls. Nebraska looking for home field advantage with a win, and they've been in control through 1. 20-0 your score. We'll be right back with the second quarter. You're watching the Arena League.
What if you could talk directly to your favorite Arena League player? Welcome to VIP Ballers, a social media platform where you can get direct access to your favorite player, DM them, get training for your young athlete, mentorship, personalized videos, and exclusive content. All you need to do is head to VIPballers.com, sign up, and follow your favorite TAL player.
The neighbors just stopped by. Can you throw these on the grill?
Garage beef? Huh. 5 more minutes.
All beef hot dogs. Filled with beer.
Honey, where are the gosh dang dogs?
5 more minutes.
Garage beef from Garage Beer.
What'd you do to these dogs?
Almost done.
Come on, man. Let's get it.
Start of the second quarter, due up. 20-0 your score. Nebraska taken over early. They have sieged this game in the first quarter. We take a look at a sack race underway, and there's a, not sure what that's about,
You know,
but
we so with the Woo, as rough as it's looked for them in this first quarter, I want to go back to last week when they played the Eau Claire Axemen, and they ended last week's game on a 44-6 run. That was just in the final 3 quarters of the game. And so this is a team that once they get their feet under them, they can find some offensive rhythm, and there are a lot of good playmakers out there. We've seen it so far in Harold Brooks and Kayvon Smith. We know that Trayvon Colbert is capable of making plays, especially on the throw-offs, but it has to start here. If you're the Woo, you need just something to go in your favor at this point. They desperately need something good to happen on this drive.
So we start the second quarter, 2nd down and 10 from the 5-yard line. Sharp takes a snap, gets it out early, but incomplete, tipped up and
that's another
incomplete.
deflection. Another great play by Evan Simons there on the defensive side. He came with another deflection there. Had a wide open man. Looked like number 7. I think that's Elijah Owusu, or yeah, is that Elijah Owusu back in the lineup this week? But unable to corral it. Thanks to Simons getting his hand on it. Boy, Simons been a major factor here on the defense so far.
3rd and 10 for the Woo from their own 5-yard line. What can they draw up to get some momentum?
It looks like they're calling a timeout.
And there's a flag on the play.
Looked like Trayvon Colbert was lined up in the backfield right next to Sharp. It looked like he was calling for a timeout, I thought.
Didn't get it off in time. That's a false start. You see on your screen there, number 44.
It's Malik Allen.
Just jumped a little too early. And, you know, we've been talking about the negative things that have gone for the Woo, and it, you know, the penalties have been the #1 thing. Let's look at our penalty, the number of penalties in the yardage in the last couple of games. Really going back to game number 1, 6 penalties, 50 yards. 8 penalties, they give up 70 yards. 11 penalties versus St. Joseph, they give up 75 yards. In the last game, despite the win, they had 5 penalties. They gave up 65 yards to the Axemen. Here's a snap, bobbled. Get it away. He's got room, and he's tackled down about the 11-yard line.
Colbert's going to be short of the first down there. Another rough operation on the snap. That one got a little bit to the side of Sharp. He was at least able to corral that and avoid it being a turnover and get it out to Trayvon Colbert for his first catch of the day. And let's see, is Iowa going to surrender the ball?
They are. They are going to surrender. They're not feeling
too
like gambling right now.
Yeah, so yeah, let's just walk through that rule for our viewers, that when it's 4th down, since there's no kicking in this game, no kicking, no punting, so instead of punting the ball away, what you do is you surrender the ball, and that automatically puts the ball on the 15-yard line opposite of your opponent. So in that situation that we just saw, obviously that's going to make the most sense rather than trying for a 4th down and giving your opponent another short field. May as well put on the other 15, but that's why we see so many 4th down attempts when a team gets down within the 20 to 15-yard line. It's pretty much automatic to go for it on 4th.
Yates will be in the backfield. Snaps. Pocket holds up. Gets it away to a man at the 25-20. 15-10. He's tackled. We'll see where they've spotted. Going to be around the 8-yard line.
There was Vince Brown, again, the guy who handled one of the throw-offs after Nebraska's 2nd touchdown, I think. And Vince Brown, he is maybe one of the most talented and athletic players across the entire Arena League. Played college football at Colorado State and Mizzou, and he's just a weapon. He's just so hard to take down.
So after that long play, Yates, and that'll be an offside.
Could be an offside, what we're seeing.
We're just going to say a little bit offside.
Vicente Colon nearly had a sack by the time the ref got a flag out of his pocket. Oh, and another Iowa penalty. Man, that's, gosh, what have we seen? 5 so far, I think, out of them? This has been a rough start, just mentally for this team.
He did it once, couldn't time it up right. Just a hair offsides. And again, those penalties have just been killer for the Woo. As good as they've played in the last couple of weeks, that penalty yardage still piling up. Yates will hand it off. Receiver tackled, but a flag on the play. We'll see which way is that going.
Vicente Colon there with the tackle in the backfield. Another tackle for loss for him on Joseph Hampton, who got the carry that time.
We await the call.
That one coming against the Siege. The Siege are the #1 team in the Arena League in penalties per game, only average 5 a game. And that's what makes it even worse if you're Iowa and you're committing all these penalties, because Nebraska is not going to do the same in kind. They're going to play pretty fundamentally sound football there, not make a lot of mistakes, not commit a lot of penalties, and so you have to try to respond in that same way, and Iowa has not done that. It's done that so far, committing already, I think, 5 penalties just in this first half.
First and goal, backed up to the 14 after the penalty yardage. What will the Siege draw up? Receiver will go in motion. Yates will be in the backfield, standing alone. Sends the man. Yates, good snap. Defense coming. Throw, caught! Touchdown, Nebraska!
And who's the guy I was just talking about? Vince Brown, who's such a weapon, largely based on his size alone, just an enormous tight end. Hard for anybody to snatch the ball away from him, as you see here as he goes to the end zone. He has 2 defenders in pretty good position, but they've got to be at least 4 or 5 inches shorter than him, and so there's just no way that they're going to be able to get that ball in against him.
Cedric Brown almost got that ball out, number 2 for the Woo, but good defense, better offense in that situation. Touchdown, Siege. 26-0 your score. Nebraska will go for 2. Again, Nebraska looking for home field advantage in next week's playoffs against St. Joseph. They know the opponent. They just don't know where they'll be playing, as that 2-point conversion blown up by the defense of the Woo. 26-0, still your score.
Well, there aren't a lot of ways that you can find a win so far if you're the Iowa Woo. They've not done a lot of things right, but if you can count one thing as a win, it's their ability to stop more points on the board in these conversion attempts. In the Siege's 4 touchdowns so far, Iowa has stopped the conversion attempt on 3 of them, and so that's what now? I think 7 points they've kept off the board for the Siege. So that's at least something. You know, you got to take a win when you're down 26-0 when it's already, I mean, it's a 4 possession deficit already for Iowa, so you got to find wins where you can get them. It's about the only thing they have done right so far is at least play well defensively on the point after attempts. Otherwise, it has been all Siege so far, absolutely grabbing a stranglehold of this game through just the first quarter and a couple minutes. And here we're going to see the quarterback, Yates, back there again for this throw off.
Well, the good news for the Iowa Woo, they have time on their side, just a couple ticks under 12 minutes left in the first half, but they need to get something going quick.
Yeah, because Nebraska, if what we've seen so far is indicative of who they are, they're not going to have a lot of times where they're not scoring a touchdown when they have the ball.
A wobbly pass corralled by Colbert. The dangerous return man at the 20. He gets tackled, but there's some laundry on the play. Colbert taken down about the 22-yard line.
Yep, another good play by Colbert, just being able to find some space. And I was wondering at first, I didn't track real closely. Did that ball make the 10-yard line? Nope, that's a hold on the Woo. The fact that the ball didn't make it to the end zone, I wasn't sure if it made it the distance. When you do the throw off, it does have to reach the 10-yard line, otherwise that's a penalty. But instead, it's another penalty against the Woo.
Their 6th of the game.
And I'm not sure if last week, boy, did we see 6 penalties all game against the Woo. I feel like they had a pretty clean operation last week overall. And just something is not right out there. Just so many mistakes. Maybe it's a crew that's calling it a tighter game, but you still got to adjust if you're the Woo and start cleaning up these mistakes. 5
penalties against the Woo
versus
Eau Claire. Sharp looking for a man. Underthrew it. Receiver couldn't get to it. Nearly intercepted, but incomplete.
And there was Kayvon Smith again, who's turned into Vernon Sharp's favorite target out of that receiving core. Another low snap, hit the turf first. Sharp able to pull it up and collect, and I mean, had a pretty good throw on it, but again, just a better play by the defender, getting one hand in there. He's able to come up with a stop. That was number 15 on defense.
Kentrell Pierce with that breakup. Said his name once already in this one. Sharp now facing a 2nd down. Looking to get away quick. He's got a man, hits him in the right hand, but couldn't grab it. Incomplete.
So now we're going to bring up a 3rd down, in Iowa trying to figure things out. At this point, you start to wonder, too, if it gets to 4th down, do they surrender the ball all that many more times in this game? You're pretty much at a point where you have to start scoring on every offensive drive. Even though you're backed up pretty deep, what do you do from here? Do you keep surrendering the ball and just keep giving it up, or do you have to start taking some risks and start making every down a 4-down conversion?
Third down, quick throw, completed. It's got first down yardage down to about the 17-yard line. So on third down, they're able to convert. And I think that's a really important question you just raised, right? Is the gamble of not converting on fourth down worth it?
Yeah.
Right?
When you're down 4 possessions already, it's like you just got to start throwing things at a wall and see what sticks. But that didn't end up being necessary there on third down. They're able to convert with Malik Allen, the big man, who we don't see get his hands on the ball all that often, able to get a catch there.
Sharp in the backfield. Throw completed to the 25, at the 20, at the 15, at the 10 before he's taken down. See where they spot him about the 12-yard line.
Great catch there by Colbert. Nebraska Siege went all out on blitzing Vernon Sharp, and that ends up being their downfall on that play because he just had a wide open Trayvon Colbert to find and get back down into the red zone.
And I think a couple of weeks ago, that would have worked against Sharp, right? We've seen him, you know, over the last couple of weeks, get better against the blitz, against the pressure. Another low snap on first down. He's going to run it himself. Sharp, he's got to move down to about the 7, and that's where he'll be marked down.
But I'd be curious if they want to take a look at this one. It looked like he might have been outside of the hash marks when he crossed the line of scrimmage. We'll see if they want to take another look at this one or not. That was close because again, one of those other rules is that when you're the quarterback and you're running the ball, you have to stay within the hash marks until you cross the line of scrimmage. But
they confirmed he was good.
Okay.
He was on the yard marker, or on the hash rather. Cannot leave the hash. Sharp on first or second down, going for the end zone. Nearly caught, incomplete. The receiver almost just made one of the greatest catches you will ever see if he had come down with that. Incomplete.
I think that Kayvon Smith would have had to be quite a bit taller to get up there. But here we're going to take a look at this last play that we mentioned, that you see Vernon Sharp. Ooh, yeah, that was very close.
Right foot is on the hash mark.
And I think he might have even stepped outside of the hash mark before he crossed the line, but then got back within the hash mark as he was crossing the line.
Third down, a lot of pressure. Sharp back to the 20, just throws it away, incomplete.
Yep.
Smart move by Sharp to just get rid of that.
There. And if you're going to throw it away, just give it to a fan.
Surrender
it to somebody who can make a souvenir out of it. That too is something maybe a little bit different than traditional football, is that sometimes you can throw the ball away and keep it in the field of play. Here, the field of play is so small, you pretty much have to just like throw it into the bleachers if you want to make sure that that's not going to be a turnover. And as we have mentioned before, any ball that goes out of the field of play, if a fan gets it, they keep it. Don't got to give it back.
Fourth down, Sharp under some pressure, gets it away to the end zone, incomplete. The Woo wanted a flag, they will get none. A turnover on a promising drive by the Woo, but the same result.
Ooh.
No points on the board.
And another fourth down stop by the Siege. That's their second of this first half. Keeping 0 points on the board for the Iowa Woo. I mean, I got to tell you, if you've watched any Arena League football, whether it's this league or arena ball at any level, it's hard to go a quarter and a half without surrendering a point to your opponent. But they pitched a shutout for a quarter and a half. Man, Nebraska Siege coming to play on both offense and defense. This team is loaded.
And again, just to give Nebraska so much credit, this is their first year in this league as a franchise. I mean, that just speaks to the ownership, to the coaches, to the players they were able to find. That is a long ball, and not a single soul was going to come to that. I don't even think Usain Bolt could have got that one. Yeah. Incomplete.
Yeah, as you mentioned, and this is such a fan-friendly league that when they found that Nebraska won a team, they were like, all right, these are fans that are going to come out and support the team. And Nebraska, obviously, it's such a rich history there with football that they know that people there love it. They're going to come out and watch if they get a team in town, especially when it's the summertime. You get a chance to spend some time indoors. What more could you want if you're in the Midwest?
Absolutely, especially on a day like today. It is a scorcher in Cedar Falls.
Usually we're not escaping the heat when we're watching a game in the Dome. Usually it's freezing cold, some rain, some snow outside, but today 72 degrees, no wind, and avoiding some blistering humidity outside.
So second down after the long incompletion, a handoff at the 15, at the 20, before he's taken down. A good hit by the Woo defender down to about the 21.
Elijah Gray on the carry there, such a weapon out of the backfield, coming out of Southern Connecticut University. that too is such a valuable weapon when you have that in Arena League ball, when you have a guy who can run the ball well, because that too is such a rarity, because teams do just pass it around. But when you have somebody that can just every now and then be a threat out of the backfield to keep the defense honest, that is so dangerous.
First down, pressure coming immediately. Yates able to get it away. Got a man. Touchdown, Siege. Beautiful route, beautiful pass, beautiful escaping from the pressure. Touchdown, Nebraska.
Dudley, that's his 3rd touchdown of the game. 3rd touchdown of the first quarter and a half. Daquan Dudley having an outstanding performance so far for the Nebraska Siege. Boy, he has been so good this season, so good today. Trying to ride this team into the playoffs with home field advantage now as the Siege take a 32-0 lead, and they're lining up for a 1-point conversion here, trying to see if they can figure out something from the 5.
They'll go for one. 32-0 your score as it stands. Yates in the backfield. Has to pass. Under pressure immediately. Escapes. He's got a man. Did he make the catch? No, he did not. Hits the turf.
No.
Incomplete. 32-0 still your score.
So there it is again with another conversion stop for the Woo, keeping them out of the end zone, keeping at least 1 point off the board there. I think that was Khalil Smith coming up with the pressure to be able to keep Nebraska out of the end zone. There was Elijah Gray trying to have a catch for a score that time, but as it stands, 32-0. And I don't know if you can pick apart this game so far. What's gone differently for this team compared to the last time they played when Iowa just lost 47-44? Obviously, they were scoring in bunches that game, but this game, boy, just nothing seems to be working cleanly for the Woo.
You know, I think that's such a great point. Going back and watching that Nebraska game, you know, that's a tough environment to go and play in. You know, I was going to mention just the loyal fan base that Nebraska has. They show up in droves to their arena, and that's a tough place to go play in. And in that game, Iowa, just everything was clicking. And here, not so much, as Colbert will receive it about the 2. At the 10, looking to break a tackle, and does. Down to about the 13, maybe 14. We'll see where they spot. About the 13.5-yard line is where the Woo will take over.
Colbert's been such a weapon these last couple weeks, even on a play like that where he is able to, you know, it's not like he's returning for a touchdown, doesn't even get into Siege territory, but able to at least pick up some yardage. The Woo have had such a tough time today being able to convert, be able to get down the field and make anything happen. So any yardage that Colbert can pick up that's extra, additional, something is helpful. Man, I mean, these last handful of games, you think about guys who are wanting to keep playing at the Arena League level, keep playing at the semi-pro level, maybe move on to a higher league at some point. Colbert's one of those guys that has looked so good every single time he gets his hands on the ball that you think, man, could this guy do something at the next level, do something at, in a higher up league, or something in you know, traditional 11-on-11 100-yard field football.
Colbert has been that dude the last couple of games. The Woo looking to get something going. There's I believe, a flag on the play.
Ooh, another delay of game coming.
The second delay of game.
A penalty that this is my 3rd game that I've seen the Iowa play here this season, and I did not see a single delay of game call in either of the 2 games I called. You've seen them 3 times before today. Have you seen a single delay of game?
I believe this is really the first time, at least on a consistent basis. Maybe once or twice, you know, trying to set up a play, but Sharp looking to escape pressure. He's got a man, can't extend and make the grab, incomplete.
Trying to give to Elijah Owusu there, the hometown kid, who comes up limping a little bit, got a little hitch in the get along as he's coming back to the line of scrimmage. Yeah, you just haven't seen the mistakes like this as we're, I mean, kind of just mentally counting up the penalties that we've seen so far. I mean, I think that's what, seven so far against the Woo, I think, today. I mean, as Nebraska, I think, had 1 penalty.
And that play completed down to about the 14. And that'll be about yards short of the original line of scrimmage before the penalty. So 3rd down and still about 11 or 12 to do up for Iowa.
And if you don't convert and get points here, you might be looking at getting shut out in the first half if you're the Woo.
Sharp, and it's batted down.
That's
Jaleel Holmes.
Yeah, Jaleel Holmes that time. I think the length of this Nebraska team has been so helpful to them today. They've got their hands on so many of Sharp's passes. Looks good when he's trying to sling it out there, but I've counted, I think, at least 4 tip balls off of the line there for Nebraska. Man, they were just pushing that pressure so heavily. And again, now we're in a 4th down scenario where Iowa does have to make that decision. Do we want to go ahead and surrender the ball and put it at the other team's 15? Or, boy, we're already down 32-0. Do we just want to try to convert something here, try to at least find a little bit of momentum? But you're running a deep gamble, because if you don't convert here, you're giving the Siege another short field and a chance to go up by another 6, potentially 8 points as we approach halftime.
Timeout called by the Woo. 3:35 on the clock in the first half here inside the Unidome on the campus of the University of Northern Iowa. Owen Sebring and Jason Stivers here with you for the finale of the 2026 Arena League season. 4th and long. They will go for it. Sharp in the backfield. Pocket holds up. Deep throw. Just out of the reach of the receiver.
Harold Brooks on the try that time, and I think what we're seeing out of Vernon Sharp, because he has looked a little inaccurate today, throwing the ball down the field, going upstairs too high on his receivers, and I think that on his side is just an adjustment to the amount of tip balls we've seen at the line of scrimmage. He knows he needs to raise that ball up a little higher to get it out of the reach of the Nebraska Siege front line, and just too much height on that one, because he had Harold Brooks open. He certainly had, you know, potentially some green in front of him. He could have gotten down inside the red zone, if not a touchdown there, but just went a little too bit high up the ladder and couldn't bring it down.
So after the turnover on downs, this Siege offense will take over at the Woo 14-yard line, nearly in the red zone. Snap, handoff to the running back, down to about the 10. 2nd down and short, or medium, due up.
And like I mentioned earlier, this is just such a weapon for the Siege offensive attack, because we talk about that. It's obvious in 11-man football where you think, okay, we need to keep the defense honest, need to mix things up, be multiple, run the ball, pass the ball, keep the defense guessing. It's hard to keep the defense guessing in Arena League because teams are so pass heavy. But Nebraska's able to do that when they do have a valuable running back in the backfield in Elijah Gray.
And some pushing and shoving, and surely some penalties on the way.
Yeah, this might be
a little bit of frustration boiling over for Iowa.
That's true.
I mean, they have just been dominated in this first half.
Just giving them a little bit more yardage. And that's, you know, we've talked about some delays of game. Brown just got blown up on that play by Stephon Chapman, who was trying to come in there for a big hit. But boy, those offsides, that too, I think we've seen 3 or 4 of those already for the Woo. Those are piling up, and especially on a 50-yard field, 5 yards is a lot of space, a lot of real estate you're giving away to your opponent.
You know, on a traditional 11-on-11, 5 yards, you know, obviously still big, but 5 yards here is ultra important. Pass to the running back, going to the end zone. Did he break the plane? No, he did not. He stopped about the half a yard short.
There's Elijah Gray again on the carry, and they're happy to just let him pound the ball in, just do the little pitch over to the left. He just lowers his head, gets past the 1st down marker. I thought he would have gotten close. Well, yeah, he was close to the end zone. I think that he just barely touched the sideline, and it looks like we're going to have a challenge here. I wonder if this is actually coming in from the Siege, if they think that he crossed the line, crossed the goal line. Yep.
Nebraska is challenging with 2:06 left. The replay official to our left. We'll take a look. We'll take a look with you. Here's another good angle of that.
Yep, good look. He's driving, and he's, boy, oh, that's close.
Can't quite see.
Don't know if we're going to get definitive proof whether that was a touchdown. Just with the naked eye, when I first watched it, I thought touchdown, but there's a lot of bodies in the way here, so it's going to be hard to overturn the call on the field because there's just not a clean enough angle to see whether he was able to reach across the end zone or not.
So the call on the field was that he was down about the half-yard line. And that's important, right? If it was called on the field as a touchdown and there wasn't evidence to overturn it, call is upheld. You see here on your screen, that's about the best look we have at it, besides that end zone camera it's a little hard to see, and clear and conclusive is the letter of the law, and that was not clear and conclusive.
Nevertheless, still got the ball at the half-yard line with 2:06 left in the first half, so still getting in pretty good shape here if you're the Siege. Get a chance to just tack on one more touchdown now and keep driving it right down Iowa's throats.
So 1st and goal from the half-yard line is where the ball will be at.
I think maybe a
two-minute warning.
There you go.
So 2-minute warning hits. 32-0 your score. Nebraska, they have dominated. As we head to the 2-minute timeout, we'll be right back with more Arena League after this. First and goal. The throw into the end zone. And touchdown in the moment. But he lost it and hit against the wall. We'll have to see what the call is here.
Oh, I was sure for a second that was a touchdown again by Brown.
So some conversation happening. He had it in his hands, but got hit against the wall, and it fell out of his arms. We'll have to look at this again.
All right. Brown gets his hands right on it. Looks like a touchdown. Yeah, I think that's got to stand because I would think that they ruled it a touchdown and then the guy comes in and hits him, but let's see what the officials have to say about it. To me, I would have said touchdown there.
And I can hear the replay official, not to snoop in on their conversations at all, but it is going to be a touchdown for Nebraska.
Yeah, I think that's got to be the right call because he has possession of the ball. He turns, he's standing there, and then the defender just comes in late and knocks the ball loose. So that's got to be a touchdown every day of the week.
If
Number two, second touchdown of the day for Vince Brown.
If he was in motion, still trying to catch the ball maybe, but he was standing straight up.
Right.
So 38-0 your score, and if you're a Nebraska fan, you're putting aside some cash for that home game next weekend.
Boy. Now let's see if they can convert on a conversion attempt here. They've only converted on one of their 5 touchdowns so far. Let's see what they can do here.
Here's the 2-point. Yates with a man behind him. Goes in motion. Yates. Pocket holds up into the end zone. Incomplete. Failed 2-point conversion. A well-designed play, just couldn't quite hook up on the conversion.
And that's what we said, I think, last week with Iowa when they just dominated the Eau Claire Axemen so heavily. That was kind of the one thing they were going to need to work on was their conversion attempts. Haven't had a chance to see them even attempt an attempt so far because they haven't even gotten into the end zone. Nebraska Siege, that's the one thing that maybe you're going to say going into next week's playoff game, likely going to be played in Nebraska, is got to figure something out on these conversion attempts because you're leaving a lot of points off the board. If they were perfect on conversions, they'd have, what, another 8-9 points on the board right now? They'd be approaching 50 points, and as it stands, not that it's likely to have much of a say in the final outcome of this game anyway, but next week it might. Next week, when it's the playoffs and you're playing St. Joe, the team that just beat you last week for your first loss of the season, you have to take every single point that you can get.
Especially in a tightly contested game. We saw that game go down to the wire. We were keeping on that game. There's a penalty. That ball did not reach the 10.
Well, that's one of those rules I think we mentioned earlier is that the ball has to reach the 10-yard line on the throw-off. And instead, when it does not, the ball just automatically gets placed at the 25-yard line.
So
great news for Iowa.
There you go. Maybe a little bit of luck on your side. You get to start the drive at midfield at the 25-yard line.
Yeah.
With 1:57 left to go, you have some momentum maybe going here.
You just got to have something go your way. And hopefully for Iowa, that's the shift that you might need to just, find some points. You just would hate to get shut out for an entire half of football, something that we almost would never see happen in the Arena League or other indoor football league.
Sharp. Bad snap, gets it away and just throws it out of play.
Pressure just coming so hard, and we might see a late hit on this one. This penalty flag came in well after the play looked like it was over. Roughing the passer on the siege.
So finally, we're starting to see some penalties going the other way.
That's
Not
right.
saying that they're incorrectly called, obviously. I don't want to insinuate that. Just Nebraska's been they played well so far. They played, great football. They played clean. Now they're starting to make some mistakes with a big lead. That's possible, right? When you get such a big lead, it's the
focus maybe slackens off a little bit. That one, it was just another time where Nebraska's front line came through almost untouched and had a clean look at the quarterback and just got there about a half second too late.
Receiver in motion and a penalty maybe.
I'm not sure if
Maybe
they maybe said they weren't ready. Might not have been ready for the snap there. Or, well, it sounds like they might be counting something off.
It was an incorrect spot of the ball.
Okay. Okay, so we're going to have to reset the chains here, too. So they're going to be going down the field as well. So I think they marked off for a 10-yard penalty, and it should have been half the distance. Once you get inside that 25, it's a half the distance situation there.
Ball spotted at 12. Still first down for the Woo. Receiver in motion. Sharp takes the snap. Ball operation. Dances away. Can he get it off? Yes, he can. It's underthrown, though. Nobody able to get to it. Incomplete.
Looks like there was more pressure from the defensive front line. I'm not sure if the Nebraska defense might have again gotten a hand on Sharp's hand here. Let's watch this again as they put on pressure. Sharp just trying to get rid of it. Looks like another deflected ball. Seen a lot of those today, deflections from the line of scrimmage, and a couple that they've just gotten there, and Sharp hasn't been able to get a clean throw off because a Nebraska player gets his hand on it or gets an arm on Vernon Sharp's arm as he's trying to release the ball.
Second down. And 10 from the 12. Bad snap. Throw to the end zone. Caught! And finally, the Woo get on the board. Touchdown, Iowa.
There's Trey Henderson, his first catch of the day. We haven't called Trey Henderson's name yet. He had one touchdown last week against Eau Claire, finally getting in on the situation today and gets Iowa on the board for the first time in the final 100 seconds of this first half. Boy, I was worried this team was going to go into halftime without a single point on the board, and that was going to be a pretty devastating blow if you have to go to the halftime, getting shut out in the Arena League. Iowa here needing every point they could possibly take. Obviously going to set up for the 2-point conversion here.
And I think it's important to mention as we watch this 2-point, Sharp has been close on a lot of these. Sharp dances, looking for the end zone, got a man, completed for the 2. And that's a good throw right there for Sharp, one he needs to see. But he's been close on some of these plays. We saw one back of the end zone. It was just over his head, just out of the reach of the receivers. We look at that play right there. Just a
great play by Trayvon Culver there in the back of the end zone, just finding the right space, shaking off the defender and getting open to get back within 30 for the Iowa Woo. Yeah, like you say with Vernon Sharp, the motions are there. And one thing you got to say for him is that early in the year, interceptions were a major factor for Vernon Sharp. But again, today we have not seen him throw an interception. There have been a couple of fumbles, which you could more so maybe credit to the center to quarterback operation just not going very well so far. But Vernon Sharp, at least his passes, he's been smart out there. He's thrown the ball away when he's needed to. Every time a pass has gone awry, it's usually been because either an opponent's hand touches his as he's releasing the ball, or a ball gets deflected at the line of scrimmage, but he's at least limited the turnovers. There could have been a lot more if this was a game being played maybe 5-6 weeks ago, but Vernon Sharp so far, it hasn't been his best game, not a perfect game by any means, but at least limiting the damage to a certain extent, as we see now Frankie Solomon Jr. doing the throw off, and that is going to be well out of bounds. So that's going to be well, are they going to call that a touchback, or I see a flag come down?
And just
Okay.
as the Woo got on the other side, the drive for the Siege will start at the 25. That ball didn't get to the 10. It went out of bounds.
Yep.
You know, I think that, you know, going back to those first couple of weeks here at home, it seemed like Sharp just wasn't reading defenses in the right way. You know, he might have thought it was one coverage, you know, might have thought it was man when it was zone coverage. I feel like now his misses are, you know, more appropriate to the coverage as we get some loud thunder. And that ball's down to the 10. Tackled about the 10-yard line. That's where it will be spotted right at the 10. Some rain.
Wow.
Hit the area. The thunder kind of shook everything
Didn't
here.
see that coming. Wow. There was David Brown on the catch that time, driving deep. Another just big, bulky pass catcher for the Nebraska Siege. Another huge weapon for this team. Between David Brown and Vince Brown, these guys are a dynamic tandem for the Siege.
Handoff on the first down to about the 9 before he's tackled against the wall, a gain of just a yard.
Counting down to the final minute of this first half. Siege with a chance to respond and put more points on the board here. Woo. There's another little win they could get if they're able to keep them out of the end zone. But the Woo, unless they force a turnover, unlikely to get the ball back certainly this half. Just got to keep the Siege out of the end zone, try to limit it, and at least keep it a 5-possession game for the time being.
Yates has a clean pocket. Pressure comes to the back of the end zone. Incomplete. Almost had a man. Just couldn't corral it. A little low of a throw for the receiver to grab. And that was Daquan Dudley. Almost had his 4th of the game.
And it's third down now. Inside of the 10-yard line, still within the territory where they could run the ball, could throw the ball. Quarterback can run the ball still. Full complement of options for the Siege offensive attack.
Yates, the snap. Flags on the play. Likely defensive, but it won't matter anyway. He'll get into the end zone, waiting for the indication. And he is stopped short.
Yeah, I think they're ruling him down at the 1-yard line again. And the Siege probably going to want to consider what they want to do here. It looked like another offsides on the Woo. And
We'll take another look here with you.
do you take the 4th and goal at the 1, or do you take a 3rd
You
goal at the
see,
4 or so?
That's going to be awfully close. That ball eased across the line.
No, you get, well, coaches get a couple replays a half, so I wonder if they'll throw the red flag out again and replay this one.
It's going to be interesting to see.
So, oh, the ball, well.
Ball not across, not across. Looks like it's across there, but is he down? That's
Right.
the question, right? He hits against the wall.
And okay.
Regardless, they're going to decline it here.
I really wonder, because there is a decision to be made there, because if you accept the penalty, it's still third down and you get the ball around the 4 to 5-yard line. But they decide to decline and instead just take a 4th and goal at the 1-yard line. I guess there's 2 schools of thought you could take there, but Siege would rather just have it on the doorstep of the end zone. They just know even if they don't convert here, they're putting the Woo in another precarious situation. With the amount of defensive pressure that the Siege have put on the Woo today, you know, boy, even if we don't score here, we've got a good chance to maybe force a turnover, maybe force a safety on Vernon Sharp.
And I think that's the mindset, right? Is even if we don't get it, we still have a large lead, as there's going to be a timeout called, I believe, by Iowa. Is by Iowa. You know, if you turn the ball over, at this point, you're not dying for points, right? If you're Nebraska, Iowa's dying for points. You understand how desperate they are, right? If you turn the ball over, you know, we've seen Sharp, you know, he's dealt with the pressure tonight, but it kind of seems like it's coming, you know, that, you know, chipping and chipping and chipping away against an offensive line and against the quarterback, eventually that's going to get through, right? So I think the mindset is if you turn the ball over on 4th down, it's not the end of the world because they're so backed up.
Right.
So a timeout called by Iowa.
Yeah, very minimal risk reward situation here for the Nebraska Siege. They already know they're going to the halftime break with at least a 30-point lead, assuming Wu don't come back and score another touchdown in the next 28 seconds.
Obviously, the best case scenario for the Wu would be to stop here. Yates with the man in the backfield. 28 seconds left in the second quarter. Snap. And that is nearly intercepted, but hits the turf regardless, and that's a turnover for the Wu.
It's a big defensive stop there. That was Ragria Lewis, who had a big game last week, coming up with a safety for the Wu. This week, Lewis coming up with a big stop there. Just, I mean, it's hard to do anything when you got big Vince Brown there trying to catch a pass. Lewis able to at least just get a hand in there, so he was able to break the ball up and get the ball back for the Wu. Man, big win for them on defense, and now they have 25 seconds left. Can they get into the end zone again? Comeback has to start somewhere if you're an Iowa Wu player. So, no time like the present. You got 25 seconds to work with at this point.
A single touchdown, or excuse me, single timeout. And a single touchdown on the board for the Wu, and a single timeout as well. Some strategizing here with 24 seconds left in the first half.
Already gotten called for 2 delays of game. Can't be taking too much time here.
Sharp. Almost against the wall. Pressure coming. And it gets there. No, he gets it out. No, he does not in time. It's a safety. And exactly what the doctor ordered for the Siege.
Yeah, I mean, didn't we exactly predict that kind of scenario that might happen? And that's the reason why you do go for it there, is because the Siege front line, their offensive attack, or excuse me, their defensive attack had been so ferocious so far today. You know, hey, even if we turn the ball over at the 1-yard line, we're probably going to be able to get in there and at least have a chance at a safety. And that is exactly what comes to fruition. That was number 18, Isaiah Nixon, coming in and putting 2 points on the board for Nebraska. I hope they take care of the end zone down there. You see some of the carpeting in the end zone that Sharp was just playing in, kind of coming apart. So
we've seen that a couple times.
Maybe at halftime
today.
Start putting that together.
This turf typically stays for a couple days on the field in the dome. Usually coming up for football practice with UNI camp starting in the last couple of weeks. But it was taken off yesterday because of the Iowa Shrine Bowl, the All-Star High School game played in this building 24 hours ago and had to be reapplied right after the game. They were literally standing at the garage doors with the turf as soon as the players were leaving that field to get it out and make sure it was ready to go. And we've seen a couple of those field issues, so maybe the rushing was part of that. Here's the throw. It's a good one, down to about the 3. Now at the 10. Before he's taken down about the 15-yard line. That's exactly where he'll be spotted with 18 seconds left in the first half.
And something we see here in the Arena League that I think sets it apart from gridiron traditional football is that in a situation like this, if you're playing on a traditional football field and you're backed up at the 15 with 17 seconds left before the half and you've got a huge lead, let's just kneel it out. Let's not try to get greedy. But in arena ball like this, you're just 35 yards away from the end zone. May as well try for a few more points. I feel like you're probably, unless it's super late in the game, you're really never going to see a kneel down situation in the first half.
I mean, again, especially in a situation where, I mean, Nebraska could put the dagger in here before the half even ends. Yates takes off at the 15, now at the 20. He'll get tackled about the 22.
And are they gonna, yeah, looks like they stop the clock.
To move the spot.
And just add a little extra yardage for Yates to work with. Probably don't have a chance for more than another 2 plays until we hit halftime. So I can imagine they're gonna be passing the ball as they go down the field.
The snap. The throw completion, but behind the line of scrimmage, he gets in front, down to about a yard gain with 4 seconds left on the clock.
I'm a little surprised at some of this play calling, just rather than letting it rip and throwing it down the field before we get to the break. A couple of just short yardage gain situations for the Nebraska Siege, but now as we have 4 seconds left, got to imagine this is going to be the last play of the half coming up. 27 yards away from the end zone are the Nebraska Siege, with a chance to take a 46-8 lead going into the halftime break. If not, Woo going to get to halftime and just try to lick their wounds in the locker room, because it has been a dominant first half for Nebraska.
It really has. And again, Iowa's not really playing for anything here besides pride, right? They're eliminated from playoff contention. Nebraska, they're playing for something. They're playing for home field advantage. They're playing for at least one more game in front of the home faithful. Last play of the half. Yates escapes pressure, looking for the end zone, and it's tipped down and away. And that will end the half. 40-8 your score. Nebraska, from start to finish in the half, they have taken everything from the Woo here in Cedar Falls. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll look at some stats, recap the half, and look at some highlights. 40-8 your score. Nebraska up big over the Iowa Woo. We'll be right back. You're watching the Arena League.
What if you could talk directly to your favorite Arena League player? Welcome to VIP Ballers, a social media platform where you can get direct access to your favorite player, DM them, get training for your young athlete, mentorship, personalized videos, and exclusive content. All you need to do is head to VIPballers.com, sign up, and follow your favorite TAL player.
Garage beer saved my life. It's 30 years ago today.
A lot of predators in this jungle.
Almost done.
Come on, man. Let's get it.
Back here in the Unidome, and a half to forget for the Iowa Woo. 40-8 your score at the break, and it's been in Nebraska all game long. The Woo scored a touchdown with a couple minutes to go, but Nebraska's been dominant.
Yeah, that was about as dominant as the first half as I've ever seen an indoor football team play at any level. And I've seen very few teams go to a half with a 0 to their name, and Iowa just about had that. I think they scored that touchdown with just about 90 seconds left in the half, so didn't get one until late. But at that point, boy, the damage is already done. I think it was 38-0 already by the time that Iowa finally got some points on the board. Everything, offense, defense, going the way of the Siege. Too many penalties against Iowa. There's just been nothing going right for them so far.
Well, what's going to go right for these fans is this halftime performance. We're about to see Tyler's balancing act. If you've ever been to a big NBA game or WNBA game or a really big sporting event, you've probably seen this guy around. Does a lot of balancing tricks. We'll try to show you some of that when we come back. We'll look at stats and highlights after the break. You're watching the Arena League. Welcome back to halftime in Cedar Falls inside the beautiful Unidome on a stormy night. The thunder has been loud in the building. As we take a look at the first half highlights here in a matchup between the Nebraska Siege and the Woo. It's been all Nebraska all night, and these highlights will show just why.
Boy, yeah, if we're putting together a halftime milt from highlights of the first half, you're going to see a lot of Nebraskans that started here as Vernon Sharp couldn't corral a loose snap and ended up with a fumble recovery for Nebraska inside the 5-yard line, and that's just automatic for the Siege. The best team in the Arena League in terms of red zone percentage, and a guy like that playing quarterback. Number 1, Sonja Yates. Boy, he is good when he's got the ball in his hands. Puts together an early touchdown, and here's Yates with the ball in his hands. Gets it deep to, that was number 13, David Brown on the catch that time. Had a couple of Browns with some touchdown catches, David Brown and Vince Brown, with some elite offensive performances in the first half. Here's another bobbled snap and another turnover that got into the hands of the Nebraska Siege. Man, their defense has been ferocious, getting pressure on Sharp, getting fumble recoveries. Here's Iowa's defense coming up with big play. Jamie Vicente Colon, one of the few highlights of the Iowa defense. He's had a nice first half. Daquan Dudley, here he is with that incredible over-the-fence catch. The kids went running. He says they heard him falling over the barrier. Watch out, he's coming. Great catch as we had to break up a fight between, is that the Texas Roadhouse Armadillo mascot, I think, in the Iowa Woo? Wolf versus Dillo.
There's a great catch by Brown there.
There's a big tight end, Vince Brown, with a great catch. Dudley, clean route off the hand of Yates. Beautiful touchdown catch from him. 3 first-half touchdown catches by Daquan Dudley. Nebraska, foot on the throat. There's Vince Brown's second one that got broken up late, but was ruled a touchdown catch for him. He had 2 in this first half. And here we're going to see the only touchdown of the first half from the Iowa Woo. Number 11, Trey Henderson, his only catch of the first half, ends up being the Woo's only touchdown of the first half. And they are now in a 40-8 hole after that safety that Nebraska got towards the end of the first half.
And if we get back to live coverage here,
there we go.
You'll never know what you're going to see in the Arena League, folks. We started the season in Cedar Falls with Red Panda, and now we're seeing a guy balancing a chair on his chin. We'll bring you some stats after the break. You're watching the Arena League. Welcome back to Cedar Falls, and we will bring you stats from the exciting first half in just a moment, folks. We need to show you what is about to go down in this building. He balances. Can he do it? Yes, he can! Incredible! The marvel, the spectacle.
The iron chin.
He is holding that thing in place. It's not even moving.
Wow.
And he falls to the ground, folks. Beautiful. Beautiful.
All right.
Let's take a look at our first half stats. 40-8 your score. Nebraska up big. 171 total yards for Nebraska. 88 passing, 83 rushing, 10 first downs, and only 1 turnover. That was the turnover on downs near the end zone. And on the other side, the Woo have always managed to get a touchdown and a 2-point. 148 passing yards, 148 total yards, 113 passing, 35 rushing. And that's really what I want to highlight. You've seen a lot of Vernon Sharp rushing. We haven't seen that in this game. Do you think that's the answer if the Woo want to try to come back in this game?
Boy, it's he is one of the most explosive running quarterbacks, probably the most explosive running quarterback in the Arena League, and so that is a weapon they could employ in the second half to try to get themselves back into it. Just looking at the total yards, it's almost even. You know, Woo would only be, what, here, 23 yards behind the Siege. Not a outstanding disparity in yardage, but that is largely due to the fact that the Siege have had a couple of short fields where they've been set up, you know, within this 15-yard line or so when they get the ball, and so there's not a lot of opportunities to build a lot of yards. But that is where the game has really been felt, is on those turnovers. Certainly two fumbles for the Woo, 2 turnovers on downs, and that set the Siege up with a short field. Not to mention the penalties. That really has been the storyline of the first half, is the Woo just continuing to shoot themselves in the foot with one penalty after another. No official tally on this, but I'd have to imagine they've committed, what, 8, 9, close to 10 penalties so far in the first half.
There.
Siege, maybe 1 to 2 penalties, I think, that we saw. Not very many, just very fundamentally sound first half for the Siege. They've been so good, so dominant, so in control. Very different scenario than what we saw the last time the Siege and Woo played, when Iowa only lost by 3. But this is looking like it's turning into a very different outcome.
Will there be a comeback in store in the season finale before the playoffs? The Nebraska Siege, if they hold on, they will play a playoff game next weekend against St. Joe's at home. We will find out in the next half. We'll step aside when we come back. More football on the way. You're watching the Arena League.
What if you could talk directly to your favorite Arena League player? Welcome to VIP Ballers, a social media platform where you can get direct access to your favorite player, DM them, get training for your young athlete, mentorship, personalized videos, and exclusive content. All you need to do is head to VIPballers.com, sign up, and follow your favorite Tal player.
The neighbors just stopped by. Can you throw these on the grill?
Garage beef? Huh. 5 more minutes.
All beef hot dogs. Filled with beer.
Honey, where are the gosh dang dogs?
5 more minutes.
Garage beef from Garage Beer.
What'd you do to these dogs?
Almost done.
back in Cedar Falls for the start of the third quarter and the second half of your 2026 Arena League regular season finale between the Nebraska Siege and the Iowa Woo. Well, when these teams played a couple weeks ago, it was a little bit closer at the half. Not so much tonight. 40-8 your score.
Yeah, it's going to take a gargantuan effort for the Iowa Woo even to make this game respectable again, and they have to figure something out completely different to what they've been doing in the first half. First thing for the Woo is obviously to clean up the penalties. That's been the storyline so far. You've got close to 10 penalties on the board so far for the Iowa Woo, and that just cannot happen if you're going to put together a winning formula against a Nebraska Siege team that is one of the best in the entire Arena League in terms of penalties per game. They're number 1 in the league in penalties per game, only average about 5 a game. The Woo have already just about doubled that number. So that's the first order of business, is just to clean up the operations on the penalties. And maybe that is a byproduct of two things. Number one is being in your last game of the year. Yes, you want to play for the fact that you want to have a winning record, or excuse me, at least a 500 record at the end of the year, and at least put one more win on the board, finish the season 3-1, something to play for next year. But another byproduct of that is the fact that you got down so early. I mean, it was hardly a minute into the game after they had the fumble, the turnover that resulted in Siege touchdown, and then it just started to snowball. So many things starting to go against you as we get a good look at Vernon Sharp on the screen as he gets ready to take the field in the second half. Once those things start going against you, it's easy for the frustration to mount, especially when you know there's not a postseason to play for. You know that no matter what happens, you don't have the playoffs in front of you. So those two factors could be big in what we've seen so far out of the Woo in terms of just being less disciplined than what we've seen out of them the rest of the season. Kind of those mistakes that you expect to see in week 1 or 2 of the year when you're still getting used to a new team, new teammates, new playbook, new play calling, a league that maybe if you haven't played in the Arena League before, new set of rules that you're not used to. That can happen the first couple weeks. But here in week 8, the finale of the regular season just cannot have the kind of penalties like we've seen out of the Woo so far.
And I think another thing, too, and we kind of mentioned it, I mentioned it in the first half and then at halftime, two things I think that the Woo need to look at, right? First of all, Vernon Sharp, a lot of the throws, a lot of the incompletions he was throwing, they were, close, right? So he wasn't missing by a bunch, and he was under pressure a lot of that. So I think maybe trying to get that offensive line to hold up for a second or two longer for him to get the ball out in time. But also, we mentioned it at halftime, using his legs. He's, getting pressured a lot, and obviously, you want that'll affect your throwing, but that can also give you opportunity to run the ball. He's great at elusive, he's so elusive. Use that a little bit more in the second half. At the 20 is the receiver. And a little bit of pushing and shoving it, extracurricular.
Yeah, it looked like it's possible the ball might have come loose there. That was Kevin Davis getting the return from the throw off, and as he was getting taken down, it looked like the defender might have tried to strip the ball loose, so there might have been a fumble at the end of the play. Let's watch it here as Davis takes the ball back. We see 15 come in there. Yep, yeah, that was number 15, Khalil Smith, who stripped the ball loose. Nearly got a recovery. That'd be a great way to start the half for the Woo. Try to get a little bit of an edge in your favor, but Nebraska able to jump on the ball and avoid a turnover there. And so they're going to start at the 20-yard line, 30 yards away from the end zone.
Yates with the man to his right, and there's going to be a penalty. We'll see which way is that going.
Some of these look like they're kind of 50-50 calls. Could it be a false start or a offside? And that'll be another offside, about the 4th or 5th of the game that we've seen out of the Iowa Woo. And I don't know what's going on in the front line. The front line's been so good. They're an experienced unit too. I mean, there have been players that have kind of come and gone from this roster, but guys like Jay Wright and Jamie Vicente Colon, they've been here all season. So this is just not what we're used to seeing out of experienced guys like that.
1st and 5 after the penalty. At the 25, low snap. Yates able to corral. Looking for a man. He's got him. Touchdown Siege. Kevin Davis.
Right out of the gate. And he's got the Cristiano Ronaldo celebration. Kevin Davis looking good on the first drive with a nice throw-off return and then getting the touchdown pass from Yates, who, if I'm counting right, has been responsible for every touchdown so far. I think every touchdown has been either Yates throwing it or the very first score of the day was him running it in. So that's, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 touchdowns to his credit at this point. Now 1-point conversion attempt.
Cedric Brown for the Woo absolutely burned on that run. Go to the end zone, incomplete. The 1 point misses, but regardless, it's a 46-8 lead by Nebraska.
It's almost astounding for how good the Siege's offense has been in almost every aspect of this game. They cannot get a conversion to
They
happen.
can't. And
7 attempts and only 1 completed conversion so far.
And I think it's especially puzzling, too, because their red zone percentage is so great.
Yeah.
They're so great at converting. And, I think it is just a different mentality, especially when you're facing a Woo team that's down this much. I think you're maybe drawing up a different play, thinking that they're going to come with a lot of pressure because they're trying to avoid points.
Boy, if I were them, I would just go for the 2-point conversion, set up at the 10, and let Yates run it in every time. I mean,
Certainly.
Passing the ball certainly has not worked so far when you're trying these conversions, so may as well let your quarterback take a handle on it as we see Yates getting ready to throw it off here. He's had a busy day in his own end zone just with all these throw-offs he's had to do.
And that's a great throw. Into the end zone, bobbled. And will he get out of his own end zone? We'll see where they spot him.
Yeah, what's the call here? Boy.
It's going to be, they're going to give him forward progress. That's about the 2.
Trayvon Colbert, who'd been so good last week in the return game. We've been talking glowingly about him, but the ball just kind of slipped out of his hands. Good tactic, though, there from Sanjay Yates, who had the throw out there. You really want the ball to hang in the air for a long time to try to get your defenders down the field to make a play. There he just, he's just barely able to get out of the end zone there. It looks like, do we have a Siege player down in the field right now?
Looks like we do.
I think we've got number 18.
Nixon.
Isaiah Nixon, he's down.
Certainly hoping that he is okay. We'll take a look at this hit maybe from, yeah, head to head.
Helmet came off.
Certainly hoping that he's all right. Kind of tripped over that end zone turf.
Well, he's okay still so far after that. And
kind of went down maybe.
Wonder if it was
feeling the effects after that.
Yeah, late after effects situation with him after his helmet came off.
Certainly not wanting any injuries for this Nebraska team as they head into the playoffs.
Yeah, just direct helmet-to-helmet contact. Oof, that's just the last thing you want to see in a football field for those two connecting. And then afterwards, it looks like for the moment he's all right. So he's kind of standing up along the barrier there of the end zone.
Kind of went down
now
after the play. He's up and moving around.
And he's walking off the field. So I'd imagine, just to use a old-fashioned phrase in football, got his bell rung a bit, but that's one of those things that they want to be careful with, and especially when you got a 46-8 lead. I wouldn't be surprised if we just keep him out of the game from here on out. I mean, there's no point in risking any of your valuable players when you've already got a playoff game coming next week, likely at your home field in Grand Island, Nebraska. May as well just keep him on the bench and let him stay healthy, hopefully get back in action for next week.
The officials are taking a look at it, but
are we seeing maybe a potential safety here, seeing when he was taken down? That's
I believe that is or maybe something after the play.
Yeah, it could be.
Some extracurricular that needs to be called.
Here we go.
Okay. So play is upheld. First down for Iowa.
Got the situation with the Arena League, 4 on-field judges, 1 sky judge, trying to make sure everything, all the T's are crossed and I's dotted.
It could be a massive shout out to the officials here in this league. I mean, having them so close to us, obviously we get to hear a little bit as that pass is fumbled out of his hands.
Trey Henderson with the drop. To your point, we have seen some accuracy out of Vernon Sharp today that, he's put the ball in the hands of his receivers a number of times, and just plays like that where Henderson.
Felt like that was tipped maybe. It kind of looked like it kind of looked like it was tipped out of his hands.
Wouldn't be the first time we've seen a lot of those
today. Looked
good
coming out, but kind of got a spiral on it in the opposite way. So maybe you got a hand on it, was a defender. Second down coming up. Sharp in the end zone. Good snap. The pass tipped, intercepted.
Those tip balls rear their ugly head again, and that was Jason Serta on the INT. First time we've seen Sharp throw an interception today. He's been so good with the ball in his hands the last couple weeks. Only 2 interceptions thrown in the last 2 weeks combined. But he had 3 INTs last time they played Nebraska a few weeks ago, and there's his first one of the day. And it, again, maybe not necessarily the worst throw in the world, but Nebraska's been so good just getting their hands up at the line of scrimmage all day today, just disrupting every single pass that was just bound to happen at some point, where a ball's going to get tipped up and just fall into the hands of a defender.
It really felt like he was playing with fire. Sharp was for a while, and it burned him there. Burned him badly as the siege will start in the red zone. Yates, snap, receiver in motion. Pass completed. Down to about the 7. Surges ahead to the 2 before he's taken down.
One of the products of Miami University of Ohio, Keon Mosey on the catch there. Just about a yard away from the end zone. They've got 2 Miami U guys on their roster, Keon Mosey and Kevin Davis, both products of the Red Hawks.
Obviously, Miami, Ohio had a great run to March Madness in basketball last year.
Yeah, Davis really had a great career there. 1,100 career rushing yards, 10 touchdowns, 809 receiving yards.
An option play, and that's going nowhere. The Woo defense able to shore up for about maybe a yard loss.
There's Mosey again on the carry that time.
And the Woo doing a good job. Read that option the whole way. They didn't bite.
And the Siege have been not quite perfect today in the red zone. They did have that one drive that it got down to the 1 yard line, then they turned the ball over on downs. But best red zone team in the league, trying to strike again today.
Receiver in motion. Yates under pressure, gets it away, back of the end zone. Couldn't quite corral it in. Almost a great catch again.
That time it was Dudley, the usually sure-handed Daquan Dudley, who's had 3 touchdown catches today, nearly made it 4. Just couldn't quite hold on to that one. Hard to say.
An awkward release, I think, from Yates. Kind of left him looking to get repositioned for that catch. Couldn't quite corral it in.
Couldn't quite get it in time.
The fans in that back row, too, it's always hard to catch, trying to go over the wall. Yates on 4th down. They're going to go for it. Back of the end zone. Incomplete. Pass breakup.
And another great pass breakup from Rogria Lewis. Didn't he have the pass breakup on 4th down on the last drive at the end of the first half? Some great defensive pressure there from number 24, Lewis, who's only been on the roster for the last couple of weeks. Great defensive breakup for him again, as Vince Brown was trying to pull down his 3rd touchdown catch of the day. So got to give credit to the Woo there, where their defense has struggled so much today in a lot of aspects, but the last couple times where the Siege have been down in the red zone, they've come up with some big stops. And now it's a matter of making sure that you can at least keep the defense from getting to Sharp, because last time they turned the ball over the 1 yard line. The very next play there was a safety on Sharp, so got to at least protect him long enough to hopefully get some yardage down the field.
Ball's at the 2. Sharp in his own end zone. Low snap. Gets it away quick. Completed. Down to about the 5 before he's taken down. So a positive gain on 1st down, and that gets the offense a little bit further away from their own end zone.
And there was Harold Brooks on the catch there. I think one of the first times that he's made a catch today. And yeah, valuable play, important play. Don't need to go down the field. Don't need to go for it all yet. Just give yourself a little bit of breathing room so you can try to find some real estate.
Next play, incomplete. Looks for a man in the middle. Had him open, just missed him.
Yep, just a little in front of him. Maybe a ball that should be caught there by Trey Henderson. Led him a little bit too far. Possibly could have reached out and grabbed that one. As now we approach a 3rd down, and as we mentioned earlier, from this point onward, it's just about every single time going to be 4 down situation for the Woo, no matter where you are on the field.
3rd down and a timeout used here by Iowa. Their first of the half.
Yeah, when you're backed up this far, it's a point where you really just want to make sure you consider, make sure you get everybody on the same page. Try to collect yourselves and, kind of impress on your team the importance of a play like this. Even though you're already down by 38 points, still some pride to play for here and a chance to at least put a few more points on the board. An 8-point, I'd be curious to look through all of the Arena League scores throughout the season to see how many single-digit point outputs there's been all year. Can't be many, if any of them, that we'd see in any season in the Arena League. So
I was going to say, I don't actually believe there have been any single-point games. I have to look. I think probably 18 that the Woo scored in Memphis week 2 was probably as close to the lowest. Don't fact check me on that, anybody, but
that was, I mean, last week Eau Claire had 24. I think they got just towards the end of the game, and so they're knocking on the door of that. But yeah, you've got to play for some pride here and don't want to make yourself stand out for a single-point effort. Got to get a few more points on the board here for the Woo.
There's a extended conversation going on. And it looks like we will finally be able to get underway. 3rd down and about 5 for the Woo. Sharp under pressure immediately. Escapes. Looking downfield. Got a man. Completed at the 10 before he's taken down. They'll spot him at the 11.
There's what you need. There's Trey Henderson, who he just missed on the last play. Goes downfield, gets him towards the red zone this time. Good chance for the Woo now to find the end zone again. They've had so much trouble just converting plays, converting 3rd down scenarios. Now we have a chance to see them get points again.
The turf actually ate that defensive back up. That ball on 1st down thrown out of play. And that's an interesting thing. We kind of hit on it earlier. This turf, something is going. It hasn't been an issue in the last couple of games. Let's circle number 15 on the screen. You see right there.
Yep.
Right there.
Right. Really gets.
I mean,
tripped
that
up in
is.
that. Oh man.
That is egregious.
Yeah,
I will
that's
say
tough.
that. And that cost him. I mean, the throw incomplete, just over the head of the receiver.
Yeah, and I don't know if you just say that that's kind of the price you pay when you're playing in any sort of indoor football league, is that you just never know what the turf's going to do. Same thing can happen outdoors, honestly. I mean, even when you're playing on turf outside, there can be issues that come up and things that can happen like that. But that is a tough one. And certainly, yeah, today it seems like it's been more of an issue than I've seen in past weeks here in the Unidome.
3rd down. Snap to Sharp. Escapes the pressure. Looking downfield for the end zone. Batted away. Incomplete.
Great pass breakup there again by the Siege. Kentrell Pierce getting his hand in on that one. No, it looks like that was Gandy, number 9. Who got his hand in there for good pass breakup.
Isaiah Gandy.
Isaiah Gandy.
From the University of Wyoming.
A good defensive player at Wyoming, 118 career tackles for the Cowboys. Now playing a little indoor football, and good break up there to force a 4th down now for the Woo.
Low snap. Sharp looking for a man. Got a man. And he's taken up and over at the 4. And they will not get there. And that's another turnover on downs. So a drive that looked promising ends in yet another turnover for the Woo, as the Nebraska Siege will take over with a 38-point lead.
Boy. And that, I think, is the 3rd 4th down stop that the Siege have forced against the Iowa Woo today. Such an outstanding defensive effort in all facets of the game. If your biggest play you give up is on a play where your defensive back got tripped up by the turf, boy, that's still saying a lot for you. Great way to bow up on the defense there and force another turnover on downs.
So the Siege take over. Yates in his own end zone. Under pressure, gets away, and taken down by the 2nd unit. And a little combo there.
There's Rogria Lewis again, who we've talked about breaking up a couple of potential touchdown catches for the Siege. We didn't hear a lot about him in the first half, but Lewis so far coming out in the second half, really coming to play. He's been outstanding every single time he's been on this Woo roster in these last couple of games. He was huge last week against Eau Claire, and he's coming with some big plays so far today against the Siege now.
2nd down and long after the sack. Receiver will go in motion. Yates will be by himself. Flag on the play.
Be another
offsides.
Or that might be.
Might be an offensive. We'll see.
A few times we've seen that today if they do call it a false start. Yep.
You see it. Yep.
It's one of the few offensive errors that the
They've
Siege
played
have had
clean.
today.
They've played really, really clean.
Yeah, if you're the Siege coaching staff, I don't know how much more you could ask out of this team today. Every single thing has been about as good as you could possibly want out of this team.
And I think the question now becomes, how long do you let the ones out there? You know, how long do you want to keep them out there? Yates, especially Yates, you know, he's played so well these last couple of weeks, despite the loss last week. Had a great game. As he's looking on third down, and that's intercepted. Nobody there but the Woo. Not the 20, not the 15, not the 10, not the 5. Lateral, touchdown Woo. A lateral on the pick 6, scores 6 for the Woo.
So let's walk through that one there, because Kayvon Smith's going to be the one to get credited with the touchdown, but Frankie Solomon Jr., that's his 5th interception of the season, coming up with a huge play in a big moment. Here he is, just reading the ball perfectly, and an overthrow of Vince Brown ends up right in the hands of Solomon. He's got that thing. You got to protect that ball a little bit better. Don't want that hanging out there, but gets the job done, and then right as he gets to the 5, laterals back to Kayvon Smith. And there he goes for a defensive touchdown. Great defensive effort there from the Woo. Holding them down there on a 3rd down and forcing a turnover and eventually a touchdown. If your offense isn't scoring touchdowns, may as well let your defense come to play and do it.
2-point conversion.
Oh, I think we're taking a look now to see.
We're taking a look at this.
We're just overhearing the referee's conversation. He laterals out. He's just behind the 5, but Kayvon Smith catches it at the 5.
That's going to be a forward pass.
So that is going to be a forward pass. So the interception, I mean, just if I'm going to go ahead and project what is going to be the outcome of the replay here, is if that is indeed ruled a forward pass, then the touchdown will get called off the board, and the Woo would still retain possession. They would still have the ball. Interception stands, but they would then get, I think, they then get penalized for a forward pass, or would the ball just stand there? I think that
it's going to be 1st and 10 at the 11 is the call from the replay judge to my left.
Yep, I believe a forward pass. Okay. So, yeah.
So positive for the Woo still, without the touchdown, obviously, but
the 6 points are wiped off the board, so at least you get a chance to get Vernon Sharp back on the field and try to find some momentum.
And obviously at this point, still 4-down territory, of course. If they can score a touchdown here, they're going to have to start getting the quote-unquote onside kicks,
yes,
which are that 4th and 20.
Yeah.
So similar to the new UFL rule, the 4th and 20. So it's a 4th and 20. If they convert it, the Iowa Woo
from their own 5-yard
from their
line,
own
right?
5,
yep,
they get to keep possession. So I mentioned that because it's probably going to be important here if the Woo can get in the end zone. Low snap, fumbled again, and Nebraska's going to come up with it. And it has been a disaster for the Woo, plain and simple. We'll wait for the call, but Nebraska's going to come up with it.
Yeah, that's Jaleel Holmes protecting that thing like his life depends on it. Ooh, I feel like we've said this a lot today, but that too is the last thing you want if you're Iowa Woo. Yeah, just right when you start to find a little bit of something go your way with the interception, then just one play later, another turnover. 3 fumbles now given over by the Woo. Of course, I think they've all come on low snaps, that it's been just a center to quarterback issue. And I don't know, again, if that is due to some of the issues we have down there with the field turf. Maybe the ball is coming off the turf, felt a little bit differently when you're snapping it. But, yeah, that's bad news again for the Iowa Woo.
Again, to repeat it, this venue, the Unidome in Cedar Falls, hosted the Shrine Bowl in the state of Iowa, the all-star high school game, as Yates looks to escape and throws into the dirt, incomplete. This turf was not present less than 24 hours ago.
Yeah, that's true.
With that game that was played on the Panther, the UNI turf here, the high school all-star game. So that was rolled out last night at about 9:30. Our grounds crew at UNI rolled that out on the turf, and they were still applying the pads to the turf when I got here about 1 o'clock this afternoon. So you know, that might play a role because we really haven't seen these kind of issues a couple weeks before, but that's the nature of it sometimes when you're playing in a venue like this. Low snap, Yates able to get it at the 20, at 25, 20, 15, 10. And they're going to say he was outside the lane.
Yeah, it's going to come back.
Touchdown is the call on the field, but it's coming back, folks.
Yeah. Yeah, and here we're going to see, hopefully we'll maybe be able to see a replay of this just to break down why this is a penalty in the Arena League, that as a quarterback, you're not supposed to go outside of those hash marks until you reach the line of scrimmage, but he was, as well as the official.
Couldn't see it great from that angle. We'll take this look at it, and those hash marks are quite faint. You see right there, he's well outside of that run lane, and he can leave that run lane once he gets past the line of scrimmage, but he has to stay in there until he gets past the line, and didn't do it there. So the touchdown called back, and
half the distance to the goal scenario, so that's going to put the Siege back on their own 11-yard line. And at this point, I think the Siege are just trying to milk as much clock as they can. No rush, no real need for them to put a lot more points on the board. Just keep everybody healthy. Try to burn as much clock as they can now. Let's just make sure that the position of the ball is right. So we're back now at the 8-yard line.
So ball's at the 8, second and long. 2 up for Nebraska. And again, Nebraska, this score holds. They will play at home next weekend against the St. Joseph Goats in the first round of the playoffs, and they, if advance, will play in Arena Mania, and there's a penalty again.
Yeah, this will be another false start, I think, on the Siege. Looks like the man in motion crossed the line of scrimmage well before the ball was snapped. Yeah, it looks like we got a false start, and going to be another half the distance to the goal situation, backing them up even further.
So Yates and the Siege will be backed up a little bit more. First down marker is about the 24-yard line on the Woo side of the field.
Yeah, look, the receiver was about 10 yards past the line of scrimmage by the time the ball was actually snapped. So don't know if he maybe got a miscue, or if the center wasn't sure about the timing or the count. Yeah, that too, just things a little bit out of sync for the Siege offense. Haven't been able to say that a lot today.
I think when you're 46-8 up, you know, it kind of feels like just want to get this game over, get out of here.
Yep.
Go back home and celebrate. Low snap. The throw through the middle, got his man. He'll be tackled. See where they put forward progress about the 17-yard line.
That's a win for the Siege, as Dudley was on the catch there. Just be able to get down the field a little bit more, get outside of the shadow of your own end zone, avoid a safety scenario, now bring up third and manageable.
A tick under 3:30 left in the third quarter. It's going to be 3rd and 8. Receiver in motion, Yates, low snap, able to corral it. Looking for a man, dumps off, able to catch, but he's tackled down about the original line of scrimmage before that penalty yardage. It's going to be 4th down and about 10.
Loss of a down or two, I think, or a yard or two, as David Brown had the catch there. Do we have, that could just be retying the shoe, yeah.
So 4th down, due up.
Yeah, great job by Brown on that play, just being able to haul that ball in and corral it, because he kind of bobbled it at first and could have come out of his hands and possibly been a turnover. A couple of Woo players in position and maybe come up with an interception, but Brown able to haul it in, able to keep possession with the Siege.
So the Woo will take over after a surrender.
Yeah, that was, so we were just coming up with a 4th down. So now they turn the ball over, as we see this surrendering scenario here, instead of having any sort of punting rules, no kicking in this game, of course, and so they just surrender the ball, and now the Woo will take over at the 15-yard line.
You see some of the Siege players trying to.
Is that the first surrender we've seen out of the Siege today?
I believe the second. They did surrender a little earlier in the game, back in the first quarter. They were in 4th down on their side of the field. Decided not to risk it and surrender. Sharp at the 10. Good snap. Good throw. Caught about the 19. That's where he'll be spotted. Forward progress. 1st down and medium coming up.
There's Harold Brooks on that catch again. Woo just trying to march the ball back down and avoid another turnover. The offense had some life the last drive, but couldn't do anything with it.
Low snap. Second down, and Sharp is eaten up. Absolutely drilled. Joseph Hampton with the pressure.
Ooh, and Sharp is down, and he is hurting right now.
It's not looking great. Oh, man.
Bad news for the Woo.
There was a penalty on that play.
Yeah, really. I mean,
Looks like
good play by Joseph Hampton dragging him down, but he's grabbing that ankle immediately.
we will obviously give him some privacy at this time. Sharp, again, you know, regardless of this game, the transformation he has had from the beginning of the year where it really felt like they're going to have to find another option at quarterback. I mentioned it earlier in the broadcast, the first 3 games, and this was even, you know, crazy to even think about. 398 passing yards, 4 yards an attempt, 8 touchdowns, 11 interceptions. In the last 4 games before tonight, it's going to be 989 passing yards, almost 1,000 yards through the last 4 as Sharp returns to his feet, but does not look good for the Woo quarterback.
We almost certainly would not see him again today. Again, even though the Woo have nothing to risk in terms of a game next week or anything, it's a scenario where you just, you know, you'd hope that he'd come back and play for the Woo again next season.
Looks like he got jammed kind of there. You see there.
Yeah, it gets rolled
back,
up on
or
that
knee in the back of the
right
ankle.
leg.
So it looks like he's, you know, up and moving around, which is obviously a great sign.
And we saw, I think that was Kayvon Smith who was warming up as a possible backup quarterback, so he might be coming in and be the one throwing and moving forward. Sharp, boy, good to see him at least walking on that. I was really worried we might see a Achilles or something there,
Yeah.
but with him walking around, you got to think, okay,
Certainly best case scenario.
Injury hopefully isn't all that serious.
Send in love to Sharp, and hopefully that he's okay. There was a review process during all of that, and Nebraska takes a timeout here. They were looking for a face mask during all of that. I'm not sure they came up with anything, but just to give you guys an update, there was their look for a face mask, but none called. But again, I mean, 22 rush attempts, 217 yards in the last 4 games for Sharp, a 3.83 turnover to interception ratio. To give you a perspective, in his first 3 games, that was a .73.
Wow.
I mean,
yeah,
the transformation for him was just unreal.
His turnaround has just been unbelievable. This back half of the year has just been amazing for him. And it kind of, I don't know if you'd even say that it started with the last time they played the Siege. Even though Iowa lost that game, 241 pass yards, 5 touchdowns, and 3 interceptions in that game. And now these last 2 performances for Sharp have just been magnificent performances by him in a couple of wins. You know, they had in the combined last 2 games for the Woo, but before today, he had 538 yards, 13 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. He's really found something. He turned a corner this year, and it's a shame to see him ending his season going out injured in this game.
So we'll see who's taking the snaps for the Woo. It looks like Colbert is going to take it on the run, 3rd down run, and get a couple of yards on the play. 4th down due up. I believe that was number 3, Colbert.
Even though we've said a few times that Iowa is in 4th down situations a lot here, I think at this point now on a 4th down, you might want to just go ahead and surrender the ball back to the side, try to kind of collect yourselves and figure out, okay, who do we want here at quarterback?
And something to mention, you know, the Woo only have 1 quarterback listed on their roster positionally. Obviously, positions are kind of arbitrary in this league.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of guys are being asked to do a lot of things. You know, we look at, you know, Yates for Nebraska. He's a wide receiver. He did some receiving earlier in the year, but then, you know, came into the role of the quarterback, and he's really excelled at that. So, you know, rules are kind of arbitrary. Everybody does everything, you know. Receivers, even in traditional football, you know, when they're warming up, they do throw. You know, they go through some of those drills. So,
yeah, almost everybody on the field is somebody who can do a lot of things: running, receiving, playing defense, passing the ball.
1st down. A run here, and it's a good one, down to about the 21-yard line.
And that too was a little different formula than what we've seen the rest of the game. So that was actually number 30, Elijah Gray, taking the snap on that one, and he handed it off to Keon Mosey, number 6. Nebraska ran the ball a lot last time they played Iowa, and maybe they're trying to run out the clock a little bit by running even more here.
Receiver in motion. Gray takes the snap, keeping himself, and he is swallowed up by the Woo defense in the backfield for a sack.
There's Jamie Vicente Colon once again coming up with a big play on the defensive front line as Gray took the snap on that one. Couldn't find anywhere to go. I really wonder now if they're just keeping Yates out of the game again for safety, for health reasons, or just giving him a break. There we see Yates on the sideline.
I would believe he's probably played his last snaps in this game with a 46-8 lead. No sense in risking anything, especially with the injury to Sharp. We just saw pass handoff completed down to about the 16-yard line. And that's where they'll spot it, and it'll be third down and relatively short for the Siege. So Gray doing the throw in here.
And
dump off and completion.
Yeah, nothing even exactly new. As I mentioned earlier in the game, last time the Woo and the Siege played each other, 3 different Siege players had a passing touchdown in that game. So they are a team that, as we mentioned, have a lot of multiple guys that can go out there, and you've got more than 2 guys who can throw the ball.
Gray in the backfield, all alone. Runner comes in motion. Low snap, fumbled. Gray able to corral it, but he is taken down behind the line of scrimmage. 4th down, due up for the Siege. And that ends the 3rd quarter in Cedar Falls. Nebraska looking to secure home field advantage for next week's playoff showdown against the St. Joseph Goats. 46-8 your score. We'll be right back for the 4th quarter after this break. You're watching the Arena League. The beginning of the 4th quarter here in Cedar Falls. As you take a look over, the medical staff is having a conversation with Sharp, making sure he's okay, and Sharp has some frustration, and rightfully so, obviously. You know, went down with an ankle injury and a rough way to end the season for him.
You like to see the fight and the competitive nature in a game that you know at this point you're probably not going to be coming back from a 46-8 deficit if you're the Iowa Woo. And in spite of that, it seems like he wants to get back into this game, wants to get back on the field. But I assume the training staff is going to think better of it and really look at things.
Adrenaline can take you a long way, you know, and I think that's probably the adrenaline talking for him.
Now we got Frankie Solomon lined up back there as a lone defender.
Gray in the backfield. Takes the snap. Looking to throw. Looking for the end zone. Under pressure. Escapes. Dumps it off at the 5, and he's taken down. A great play by Gray. Maybe not a quarterback in name, but he's certainly playing like a great one now.
Boy, just barely got that ball up before he hit the line of scrimmage. It was close. He was very close to getting back to the line of scrimmage here.
And have to take another look at that.
Flipped it forward right at the point before he needed to. Vince Brown now getting down to the 5-yard line.
So set up in the red zone. Elijah Gray takes the snap. He'll run it himself. Up the middle, and he'll get a couple on first down to about the 3. Someone's helmet came off. We'll see whose that is.
Yeah. Well, you know, I wondered there. We've got a flag on the play. This might be on the Siege.
And he was inside the 5-yard line just by a hair,
well,
but
that's kind of what I thought. I'm like, can he run the ball from there? And apparently, as it turns out, he cannot run the ball from there. And actually, Yates is coming back into the game now, potentially playing some QB again, but they're going to get backed up to the 15-yard line. Yeah, that too. We mentioned that a few times, that if you're on or within the 5-yard line on offense, you cannot. If you're a quarterback, you cannot run the ball, no matter what, even if you're inside the hashes. That's just one of those rules that is, again, one of the wrinkles in this game that makes it a little bit unique, but just encourages passing when you get down there.
I will also say this, and Yates takes the snap. He's going to take off and run. It's down to about the 10, and he's going to be outside the run lane for the line of scrimmage.
You see the flag coming in.
I certainly don't understand the decision to put Yates back in. I will say that. And obviously I'm up here, they're down there, you know. But in a situation like this, you're 13 minutes away and it's not close. You know, you're playing a game next week for, you know, your first playoff game as a franchise at home, more than likely.
We just saw one quarterback take an injury and go down.
Certainly don't want to see that. So maybe they're seeing something, you know, but it looks like
now he's out of the game, it appears.
Appears to be. Or no?
Or
he's actually lined up in the backfield.
Well, that looks like a number 7, I think.
Can't quite see from here.
Lined up in the backfield.
And that is number 7. Gray will take the snap. And he escapes pressure, looking for a man downfield. Caught over the middle at the 10, at the 15, at the 5, and in the end zone. Touchdown, Siege. The finishing touches. And Nebraska fans, get your tickets. Your team is heading home to face off the Goats in the playoffs.
There's Keon Mosey on the receiving end of this Elijah Gray pass, going across the body, across the field to Mosey, who just has to split a couple of defenders and finds his way for 6.
They'll go for 1 here. Gray escapes the pressure. In the back of the end zone, caught. Conversion is good.
And was that Mosey again on the 2-point catch?
Dudley
that was
with
Dudley
the
that
reception on the point conversion.
Yep. And so now we've had 2 Miami University Redhawks scoring touchdowns in this game, and both Keon Mosey and Kevin Davis finding the end zone, as it now goes to a 55-8 lead at this point after the 1 point. Excuse me. Do we have the right score on the board? Because it was 46 before this, right? So yeah, 53 to 8.
53.
53 to 8 is the score.
I think we were so used to 2 points that the 1 point was a little bit
threw us off.
Threw us off a little bit up here in the press box.
So that's a bit of good news, even again for the Siege, being able to convert a 1-point conversion attempt. Hadn't not only had one previous conversion attempt that was successful, able to pull that one off. And now it's Vince Brown back in the end zone for the throw off.
And this is a long ball down to about the 3. Trying to break a tackle, and he can't do it, down to about the 4. There's a penalty on the play.
Just about got loose, but that was David Brown bringing him down that time for the tackle. Just a shoestring tackle. Colbert doing everything in his power to escape there, find some sort of space, and just about found it. If he escaped Brown's tackle there, he would have found some nice room up the sideline.
So the Woo will take over after the penalty.
We're going to see a face mask now. And it might have looked like a little bit of that Brown or another Siege defender might have gotten a hold of Colbert's face mask before he got taken down. So a little bit of extra yards here marched off. And so Woo drive as they try to at least reach double digits in points for the day. Going to start about this, where are we going now? 18-yard line?
I believe it'll be about the 18 is where they'll spot it. You know, and obviously this is a bittersweet ending for the Woo. And, you know, we talked about it in the open. We talked about it kind of here and there. This team's been around for 3 seasons. They've been here since the inception of the Arena League. You know, their best team record is this 3-4, now going to be 3-5. Still their best record as a franchise. First snap, throw by Colbert, down to about the 18, maybe 19 with forward progress.
Good to see Elijah Owusu get a few catches here today for the Woo hometown kid, whose dad's a professor of African Studies at the University of Northern Iowa. Like seeing him out here after he would have played some high school ball here at the Unidome. But yeah, and I got to give a lot of credit to the Woo, their management, for being able to stick around for 3 full seasons. Frankly, with Arena League ball, not in the Arena League, the TAL necessarily, but just in indoor football in general, it's hard to stick around for a while with the Colbert.
That's intercepted. Over the middle by Colbert, right to the defender, flag on the play, and was tackled about the 9. You know, and I think that's a great point too, you know, especially this year with the move from the Hippodrome they played in the last 2 seasons into the, you know, Unidome, a much bigger complex. But the staff here, you know, at Northern Iowa, big credit to them as well for them, you know, managing so many different things, especially in the last couple of weeks with, you know, UNI football camp returning here, and obviously last night having the Shrine Bowl.
But just in general, the country is littered with Arena League football teams, indoor football league teams that will pop up for a year, maybe 2 years, and then just shut or have to close the doors after that. We even see that some other places in Iowa in some other leagues that have been run around here. But to stick around for 3 seasons, that's already a pretty good win for this team and this roster, and no signs of closing things down in the future. Boy, they're full steam ahead, and this is the way that you start to build some energy, build some momentum, winning. Well, what's it going to be? 2 of your last 4 games, I think, that they're going to finish with here. So good way to finish and start to keep building that fan base. And with Tim Brown, the league commissioner, and the Arena League in general, very bright future for this league.
After the penalty, the Nebraska Siege will take over at the 22. Handoff down to the 20 and tackled about the 15 for 2nd down and short. Yeah, I think that's such a great point too of like, you know, obviously, you know, you see the the stands, the attendance is not where they want to be, but obviously a lot of that is to do with the on-field product. You know, to be quite frank, and the fact that this is their best season, you know, they're building onto something, right? And it takes time. You know, it takes time, especially in a league like this, to get your name recognition out, and the rebrand in the offseason certainly didn't help that. Here's a snap on 2nd down, and he's going to run it down to about the 5 before he's taken down about the 4.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is how you do it. And Cedar Falls, Waterloo, this is an area that does love football. They love indoor football with the amount of football they've watched here at the Unidome, and they're coming around at the right time. Of course, summer is a time where people are football starved and really eager to see something out there. And even if it's a team that maybe they haven't watched before, or a style of football they haven't watched before, it's still something. It's a chance to go out there and see a little bit of football be played. And that's kind of what people are hungry for. So the more the word spreads, the more you start to hear about this indoor football league team playing over the Unidome. The more you start to build a fan base. As long as people are out there having a good time, knowing that they can get a souvenir ball if it goes in the stands. I could take this home. And I do love that they do have some hometown kids with Elijah Owusu, as I mentioned, a Cedar Falls kid who has his own social network and his circle of friends and family and community already here in Cedar Falls built in. They'll want to come out and see him play. So teams like this are often built on those hometown players. They already kind of have people who know the name, know the kid, know the person. They want to come out and see them play some football, even if it is in the summer in a league that you maybe haven't watched before.
Ball is placed at the 4. Gray will take the snap. Receiver in motion. Behind the play. Gray takes the snap. Will keep it himself. Back of the end zone. Bobbled but dropped.
Yeah, good pass breakup by Frankie Solomon there, who had the interception earlier in the game.
Jaleel Holmes almost came down with it, though.
Yeah, had his hands on it, but just a good breakup in the back of the end zone to force the pressure and make sure that he couldn't get possession. Because I credited Solomon that play, a couple guys that got his hands on Holmes to break it up.
So still 2nd and goal for the Siege as they look to crack 60 with a score and a conversion. Receiver in motion. Gray, hands off. And a good play by the defense to stop him right at the line of scrimmage. No gain on the play. 3rd down coming up. You know, and obviously, too, we have to extend this beyond just the Woo. A lot of Nebraska fans surely watching this broadcast, and, you know, their first year as a team in this league, and just the way, you know, like scrolling through their social media is the interaction, you know, the support that they have from the area. And obviously a lot of that's helped by the you know, the players they've been able to get. You know, the building they play in is a fantastic facility. 3rd down. Defense coming in, throw, wide open, back of the end zone, touchdown Siege.
There's Daquan Dudley with his 4th touchdown catch of the game. Had a 2-point conversion attempt as well as a fan. Yeah, she knows she's going home with a football. Gets to keep that thing. Snap it for the Graham. Yeah, the Siege, you got to say, so they're going to end this day with their 7th win of the season. That's more wins than the Iowa Woo have in their first 3 seasons combined. It's hard to build a football team from scratch in any league, much less one like this where it is a lot of players that are getting used to the game for the first time. So you really cannot say enough for what Nebraska has built in season 1. For them to put together a roster like this, build a fan base, build a team that really knows how to play. Man, they've been impressive in every facet of the game today.
Going for 1. Gray will take the snap. Low snap, able to corral it in, avoids pressure. A punch throw into the end zone.
And certainly something to help the roster for the Siege is the fact that they, even just getting Division I talent on your roster, that's something tough to do. Well, we do have a Siege players down on the field for the moment. That's number 22, Jaleel Holmes, who's going to be, well, he's up and moving around, but limping off the field. But to get Division I talent on a roster, that's a tough thing to do. The Woo don't have a lot of D1 players on the team, but when you look at the Siege, you've got a very uncalled. I mean, just looking down the roster, you've got Western Kentucky University, a couple guys from Miami of Ohio. Vince Brown went to Mizzou. Joseph Hampton went to Savannah State. Jalen Parker, University of Alabama, Birmingham. Isaiah Nixon went to Sam Houston State. You got University of Wyoming on there for Isaias Gandy's. Just when you have that many players who have played football at the Division I level, A, you know the talent is going to be there, and B, it's guys who have played on a lot of teams, who have built a lot of team chemistry, who have had to study a lot of different playbooks. Just can't say enough for the amount of experience and talent that brings to the roster when you get guys who have played Division I football.
Certainly. And I think another reason why you've seen this Nebraska team, and it's not just Nebraska, you look at, you know, Monroe's a new team this year in the league, and their fan base is fantastic as well. I think, you know, it's the, and we see a return down to about the 4. And, you know, we see, you know, just the engagement outside of the building, right? In the public engagement. I think that's something that the Woo, you know, are trying to build. But obviously, you know, you're also playing in an area with, you know, UNI obviously takes up so much of the time of the year, right? Summer's really the only free year.
As we hear, I think that was a block in the back call on the Woo, so it's going to back them up half the distance, so they're going to have to start this next drive on about the 1.5, 2 yard line. Sorry, continue your thought.
No, you're good. Just like, you know, trying to get the name out there and trying to get name recognition. And like I mentioned earlier, you know, with the change from the Waterloo Woo to the Iowa Woo and the move, you know, 10 to 15 miles into Cedar Falls. And, you know, there's a lot of things that they're still trying to build on, whereas Nebraska was, you know, there's a lot of great talent off the bat, like you mentioned with the D1 guys. So the drive will start at the 1. Sharp takes the snap. The throw.
Deflected.
That was not Sharp. That was
again.
Colbert, excuse me.
Oh, sure. But yeah, that ball deflected again. That looked like it might have been Hampton at the front line getting his hand on that thing. It's been another story of the day. Boy, I've lost track of how many deflected balls at the line of scrimmage the Siege have been able to come up with. They play a style of ball that is so aggressive, so good on the front line. Just an impossible defensive unit to get past, especially for the Iowa Woo. They just have had no answers for this team today.
Second down. Colbert trouble with the snap, gets it off and completed.
Wow.
For a gain of about 3 yards.
I mean, great play there by Colbert to be able to at least like corral that ball and get it off for the completion to Trey Henderson. Gives him a little bit more real estate to work with. Man, that was a tough one just to be able to get the pass off and find some sort of positive yardage there. Going to come up with third down now. And with under 7 minutes left in the game, I would assume with any fourth downs, we'll probably just see a surrendering of the football moving forward.
Third down, Colbert in the backfield. They'll take it and run it himself. Escapes the tackle. Escapes another tackle at the 10. First down yardage. He is dragged down past the marker. And first down due up for the Woo.
Well, there we go with Trayvon Colbert, one of this team's playmakers. Don't need to worry about a fourth down scenario here. Colbert able to escape, and he's got such remarkable escapability skills. We've seen it primarily the last couple of weeks on throw-off returns, but he can do so much for you when he's playing offense too.
Let me take another look at that. First down, Colbert, snap, and completed down to about the 20. He escapes the tackle, and nope, he is dragged down. The ball comes out, and they'll say he's down by contact.
Owusu getting about a 8.5, 9-yard gain there.
So again, Nebraska will play a game on home turf a week from now against the St. Joseph Goats. As we take another look at that. Taking a look, yeah, he was down, had possession of the ball. So second down and short coming up for the Woo with 5:25 and ticking. Second down, Colbert takes the snap. Tipped and incomplete.
There's another one. Another deflected pass. David Brown getting his hands up there.
And that's, kind of to your point about the D1 talent. That's what you get with D1 guys, right? There's a reason they went D1. They're guys that have, length, and you're seeing that a lot in this game. Just guys, I mean, those are the physical aspects that you really can't overcome, right? As good as your arm can be, you can angle it up and
when you play on a smaller field like this too, there's only so many places you can put the ball.
Certainly. Third down, Colbert trying to escape. Escapes for a moment, but he is taken down. Loss of a couple, and that'll be fourth down.
Now, do you want to try to just keep the ball in your hands and try to convert a fourth down, or do you just go ahead and surrender the ball over to the other team?
And it looks like they will go for it now.
All right.
With a fourth and maybe 4.
I think they maybe figured damage is done. If the Siege score again, it's still a loss regardless, but may as well try to at least throw a few more plays out there and put some points on the board.
And that's a bobbled snap. And Colbert will just throw it down the field and he'll go out of play. So a fourth down turnover.
Nice catch by the fans in the stands. Throws it up to his parents. Okay, make sure we don't lose that. Let's bring that thing home.
It is, I will say this. One thing that I really like about
they got 4 footballs now. Look at that.
Oh my goodness.
3 of them stacked up next to him.
Oh my goodness. Wow.
Building a collection of footballs for the apocalypse. Holy Moses. Got 4 balls now in this game.
As we take a look at that fourth down failed conversion. One thing I do like about the setup a lot is you see that catch.
Nice snag, teal shirt.
He's got a future in him. I see that. There's a lot of area. Obviously, you play on a turf, the UNI turf on the field, and the kids love to run around, play with their friends, play catch. So Gray in the backfield. Running back to his left. He'll hand it off, and that play is blown up. The Woo are all over it.
Yeah, there's Ty Anderson getting in the backfield there. Yeah, to your point, that's such an important part about, honestly, any minor league team in any sport, whether it's baseball, hockey, football. You do want to make it a family-friendly environment that, like, kids can come and know that they're going to have a good time there. And that's what we see a lot down on the sidelines as kids, catching balls, or they're just taking a ball and playing catch over off to the side. When the kids want to go, then the parents are going to want to go, and they know that they have an atmosphere that is going to be conducive to a family environment.
The snap on second down. Receiver takes it, and he's blown up about a yard past the line of scrimmage, maybe 2 after the spot.
Dudley on the carry there. This may be Nebraska's final offensive possession of the day. We'll have the 2-minute warning, and the Woo might have a chance to get the ball back one more time. The clock's ticking down just to about the 2.5-minute mark as we reach closer to the end of the regular season of year 3 of the Arena League.
Nebraska will close this game out. They will pick up win number 7, move to 7-1 on the season. And any folks from Nebraska, you have a team that is ready to compete for a championship. That pass batted away. 4th down coming up. I mean, I'll say this, regardless of last week's result, that was a close game. This team all season long, Nebraska, has looked like a championship team in this league. I mean, they have played clearly better than everybody else. As we head to the 2-minute warning, not much drama here in Cedar Falls. 59-8 your score as we head to the 2-minute break. We'll be right back with some more action and some closing thoughts after the game is over. You're watching the Arena League.
What if you could talk directly to your favorite Arena League player? Welcome to VIP Ballers, a social media platform where you can get direct access to your favorite player, DM them, get training for your young athlete, mentorship, personalized videos, and exclusive content. All you need to do is head to VIPballers.com, sign up, and follow your favorite Towel player.
The neighbors just stopped by. Can you throw these on the grill?
Garage beef? Huh. 5 more minutes.
All beef hot dogs. Filled with beer.
Honey, where are the gosh dang dogs?
5 more minutes.
Garage beef from Garage Beer.
What'd you do to these dogs?
Almost done.
Come on, man. Let's get it.
Welcome back to Cedar Falls, Iowa. After the 2-minute warning, we are 2 minutes away from Nebraska heading back home to play for a championship in the playoffs. Nebraska 1, Iowa will fall to 3 and 5. Field, they look to go for 4. Low snap. Gray able to corral. 4th down attempt.
Jay just comes in and eviscerates that play, eliminates the quarterback, erases the QB, takes him down. That's a big swing. Up to the line of scrimmage and now have about 1 minute and 54 seconds left to try to reach digits in points.
So we mentioned it earlier about this potentially being the lowest scoring game in the Arena League this season. I am back to report that I was incorrect. Memphis scored 6 in a loss to Arkansas. That was 32-6 final score.
So we could be looking at the second lowest scoring game.
certainly not a group you want to be in.
Yeah.
Let's just say that. And when you're in that conversation, is an option play, gets a couple yards down to about the 22, maybe 21 after the forward progress.
The Arkansas Diamonds, weirdly enough, as a team that's going to be going to the playoffs, they started the year with a 40-14 loss, so they'd be, I think, next on that list right now with the next low-scoring game with a 14-point effort, and then they just reeled off 5 straight wins. Arkansas were costly from that one.
Second down play, he keeps it at the 10, at the 5, and he's tackled down to about the 4-yard line in the red zone.
Well, their first touchdown of the game so far came in the last 90 seconds of the first half, and now trying to at least put one more score on the board in the final 90 seconds of the second half. 1:20 and ticking left in this one for Iowa to get back on the board.
Colbert takes a snap, looking to throw, looking for a man, under pressure, gets it away, almost intercepted, but falls incomplete.
Another one right into the hands of Jason Serta, who had the other interception in this game. Should have had a second one, but that one drops and stops the clock, so I will have a little bit more time to work with as we tick down in the last 70 seconds of this game.
1:09 left on the clock, left in the Arena League regular season, as the Woo look to clean up the score, make it complete.
There's a big hit by number 2 for Nebraska.
Complete.
There's a big hit by number 2 for Nebraska, Avarian Cole. Mentioned him, a Western Kentucky grad. One of those, Avarian Cole. Mentioned him, a Western Kentucky grad. One of those Division I products from this Siege team. And 1 products from this Siege team. And that's going to bring up a 4th down.
4th down and about 4. 2 pay dirt for the Woo. Snap. Colbert looking for a man. Delivers into the end zone. Touchdown, Woo.
Well, that's maybe with Elijah Owusu, who played his high school football here inside of the Unit Dome. Grown up as a UNI fan, a fan of football here in the Cedar Valley. He gets to maybe have the final touchdown of the 2026 season for the Woo. Good for that kid. Popular kid in the area. UNI has been around for a long time. Him 6 wins.
Offers coaching services in the area. Going for 2. Colbert under pressure, and he's not going to get it away. Oh no, he escapes for now. He's still on his feet. I thought he was going down back at the end. I thought he was going down back at the end zone, way over anybody's head. Incomplete. I thought he was certainly going down.
Wow. Yep. Great.
With 47 seconds left to go, the finishing touches here in Cedar Falls.
And we mentioned the onside throw scenario here, so I was going to try to complete a 4th and 20 situation to try to keep possession of the ball.
And that snap, indicative of the day, to say that, to say that much. It's been about that kind of day. The snaps have been a problem for Iowa all day long since the first couple of plays, and kind of fitting the last play of the game likely for the Woo on offense is similar.
Yes. Yep. Yeah, that's been the storyline today, is snaps that have been effective. We've talked about the penalties all day long. Vernon Sharp leaving the game late didn't help. I mean, the outcome was not in question anymore already at the point where he left this game, but nevertheless.
So 47 seconds on the clock. The Siege look to finish, put the final touches.
As we see, then past now the 60-point barrier, that goes in the book as another safety, their second safety of the game, so puts the score at 61-14. As we carry on in the final 47 seconds of this game, Siege getting past the 60-point barrier.
Want to send a huge shout out to our in-person team who had some car issues on the way here from their broadcast last night in Eau Claire. Able to make it down in time.
Bingo.
So massive shout out to them. Massive shout out to Clutch Sports, our production crew over in Illinois, doing a remote broadcast for us. Been great guys to work with all year. Guys and gals over there helping us put this together, helping this thing work.
And this actually is not even Nebraska's first 60-point effort of the season. A few weeks ago, in their first of back-to-back weeks against the Eau Claire Axemen, they won that game 68-25. A couple of 60 burgers dropped by Nebraska. We've had 3 more games, I think 4 more games outside of that have gone past 50 points. And it's just a potent offensive attack that has a lot of weapons, a lot of guys who can hurt you. That is going to be a dangerous team coming to the postseason. They're
Certainly
facing off with St. Joe, a team that just beat them last week. So it's going to be an interesting playoff matchup as Nebraska and St. Joe go to face off against each other.
I think I speak for a lot of people, and I say that's going to be an exciting game to watch. And the Siege will just kneel it down here with 40 seconds and ticking. Do have to run a couple more kneels with the play clock being shortened, but just salting this away. A timeout called by Iowa. Maybe force them to do it again. Not quite sure what they're looking for, but with 32 seconds left, I don't think 50 points are on the way for them. But
yeah, I don't know if this is a Kirk Ferentz leave the timeouts, take the pig situation. I don't know what you're thinking here when you're down this much and you're calling timeout late in the game, especially when the other team's in victory formation just trying to run out the clock. But all right, I guess we can take a timeout here.
You see Siege players feeling good, looking good today as they continue their hunt for a championship.
Yeah, and it's no matter what happens in the playoffs with the 4 playoff teams set up, we have Nebraska, St. Joe, Arkansas,
and Monroe.
And Monroe. No matter what, it's going to be a new league champion. The Duluth, who won the first 2 league championships, they left the league for Arena Football 1. And so regardless of who wins it all, it's going to be a new champion this year.
And time will come off, and maybe another timeout called, and indeed
Okay, well,
they'll take a timeout.
you get a couple of timeouts. Why not go ahead and use them, I guess?
Can't take them with you.
I suppose they might want to get the ball in their hands again, just try to at least surpass another point barrier, see if they can fire off a few more offensive plays and maybe put something more on the board to narrow the gap here a little bit. Maybe instead of a 47-point loss, a 39-point loss sounds a little bit better.
There you go. So once again, massive shout out to our crew, both here and in Illinois, making this broadcast happen the last couple of months. Massive shout out to
Face mask.
That's going to be maybe a penalty called, and we'll see.
No
if
face
they're
mask?
worried about calling it. A massive shout out to 85 Creative, the team behind
Shout out to
all
the
the
dogs.
productions. Yeah, shout out to the dogs. Mark King over 85 Creative, putting this whole thing together, managing all the broadcasts. As we head to a final score, 61-14 Nebraska, in a game that was never close, moves on to the playoffs. And home field advantage. Nebraska fans, get ready, get loud. Your team is good. 61-14 the score. We'll step aside for a break. When we come back, we'll have final thoughts and highlights. You're watching the Arena League. Welcome back to Cedar Falls, Iowa, as we clean up the finish of this one. 61-14 your score. Nebraska takes it all the way and finishes 7-1, and they look good heading into the playoffs as we take a look at our highlights from this one. A lot of red and not a lot of blue in this one,
boy.
to be quite frank. We saw the Woo coming out, and unfortunately, the problem started right here.
Yep. Yeah, it was that very first offensive possession they had that Vernon Sharp fumbled the snap. A lot of fumbled snaps today. A lot of, not very smooth operations going on between the center and the quarterback. And we've already seen on these first couple plays that the turf was playing a factor out there as well. Some of the carpet coming up here and there. And Yates, boy, he was good there. Sanjay Yates was outstanding at quarterback, running the first touchdown in, and he was responsible for, I think, the first 8 touchdowns, 7, 8 touchdowns,
yeah.
I think, for the Siege. Last time these two teams played, they combined for 14 touchdowns. Each team scored 7 touchdowns in the last game, and Iowa just could not ever keep that pace again. We saw another lost snap, lost fumble that the Siege recovered. They had a few defensive turnovers today that went in their favor. A lot of really nice plays by their defensive unit. Not even just the turnovers, but it was the tip balls, an interception, put a lot of pressure on the quarterback, had a couple safeties, everything going in the right, including that outstanding catch, maybe one of the best catches of the year, possibly play of the year in the Arena League. Daquan Dudley going over the wall for the catch. That was a thing of beauty.
Tension's high between the mascots. As you take a look at some extra plays here, that great catch by Brown. It's just poured on. You see Dudley here, another great cut. Great cut, great route, great catch for the touchdown. Once again, everybody here in person and in Illinois at Clutch Sports, we thank you for being with us throughout this entire season. To my right is Owen Sebring. I'm Jason Stivers, and thank you everybody for joining us for the great Arena League season this year. We will see you in 1 year's time here in Cedar Falls, Iowa. Nebraska fans, you got a lot to look forward to. Your team heading on to the playoffs. Iowa fans, hoping next year is even better. What a balancing act. What a show. Have a great rest of your night, folks. You won watching the Arena League. 61-14, Nebraska takes it in the finale.
Nebraska Siege, man. Shout out that foe, man. Love you, ma. I love you, ma.